Going off. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, we're getting started. Okay. Yeah, so we have begun. Oh, I hope that doesn't get in the way, does it? Okay, no, it doesn't. All right, so hello, everybody. Bloodman Bobby here. I'm here with a special guest, Andrew Senko. How are you doing? Did I pronounce your last name right?
Yes, yeah, that was right.
Cool. So, how have you been?
I've been good. Just
Mm-hmm.
getting through the pandemic best we can. Sorry. How's it been over there?
It's been pretty, yeah, I mean, I'm adjusting. I mean, I have a remote job, in search engine optimization, and I'm adjusting well. Been working at home. Same with you?
Nah, I mean, I've been working the entire time, but I've been on site just doing construction, so it's been all the strict COVID regulations and everything, wearing face masks the whole time and keeping 6 feet. It's been a challenge, but been busy.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. So, I wanted to start off by saying I'm actually, whoa, really surprised by the turnout. There's literally, like, no pressure, Andrew. There's literally like over 70 viewers in the stream and like 21 likes. So, I wanted to like start off by clarifying that this is, but not the official stream. This is not the official like stream itself. This is a discussion. It said in the title that it's a discussion of the panel, and I really wished I could actually do like a stream of it, like actually put it on the screen, but I'm really concerned about the any like potential like copyright issues I might have with uh Comic Con, because I know in like the past they've had like issues with like people going to like panels and filming like the exclusive stuff that they're not supposed to. So, and we were actually talking about this right before the stream, right, Andrew? Like you were saying
Yeah.
that you were aware that there was that Comic Con is also like strict about like streaming and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. They've been getting a little bit more lax here and there. Like they've been releasing all of their personal streams of panels and everything a little bit quicker to avoid that whole thing. But I think it's definitely a safe thing to differentiate that this is not the official Comic Con panel. This has nothing to do with Comic Con necessarily. It's just a fan reaction to the Comic Con panel and to the shows that are going to be in the panel.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, so apologies to Dakota and anybody else. I mean, we're just as much as in the dark as far as where the actual panels. Even I'm like looking around, like thinking, where is this panel going? The actual event itself going to be? I'm actually going to be watching it on my like iPad and like we'll be talking on the stream like as far as like our thoughts and expectations. So yeah, I mean, we mentioned in the title that yeah, that we can't do it here. I've said in the description due to copyright concerns. I've done streams before where like I've done like for a consumer electronics show, and that one wasn't too bad. I got like copyright like claims, but I didn't get like strikes. But knowing Comic-Con, I don't really want to take the like risk, because I've actually had a friend who got like a copyright strike and couldn't do streams for like 90 days. And since especially like this channel, yeah, like yeah, so YouTube can get pretty serious. It's funny, like I've been doing YouTube for a while, even before like I've done Blood Moon Bobby, and the worst I've gotten is like videos blocked but never a strike. So I've considered myself lucky, but I don't want to like take the risk. So yeah, I mean, I'm just looking around YouTube and Twitter trying to see where in the heck this like Comic Con thing is. Like, I hope they post the links. It's kind of weird because usually whenever these kind of like panels or press conferences pop up, the company usually puts up like a link to it. Like I think of like the Nintendo Directs, for instance, or Apple's like their WWDC press conferences. They usually do it well like in advance, at least maybe like an hour or even like a day before. So yeah, so again, this is not the official stream. Again, I really wished I could, but I don't really want to take that kind of a chance and get this like channel like struck down, especially since I'm in the middle of doing like Owl House reviews. I don't know if you guys could tell, but I've got like the the Lumity, like I made a Lumity shipping flag, and I've been doing those live, so I don't want to like, because if I get struck, if I get a strike, then I can't do like live reviews probably for the rest of the second season. So we're just as left. Andrew, do you have any clue where the stream could possibly be?
No, I've been doing the same. Just looking around. They might be just waiting until right before the stream starts to be able to post anything. But yeah, I'm as in the dark as you are about it.
Yeah, I mean, the latest I've seen, like, if for anybody watching, if you go to Disney TVA's Twitter, this is gonna look unprofessional, but I don't really care. There's like a Phineas and Ferb clip. Actually, me, I probably shouldn't even show on camera. There is a post, like, promoting the event, but there's no link that I could see. So it's I would imagine it would probably be because I've seen the Comic-Con YouTube channel where they've been putting up like videos of the panels, but I'm not sure if that's where the live thing is gonna be. So yeah, I'm kind of just thinking like my plan A is to like maybe check Disney TVA's Twitter at around noontime, like just to be sure, like, because I would imagine they would, post the link, especially since, lots of Owl House and Amphibia fans are like, super excited. I mean, like, I mean, I'm thankful that lots of people are checking out the stream and have liked this, but at the same time, I hope it's, I don't want it to cause confusion. So, that's why I've been like saying both in the title of the stream and in the description that this is not, we're not going to be able to stream it. I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe someday, but when it comes to especially, like, the rule I've learned is, like, when it comes to, like, Apple and Nintendo, I don't take chances with those kind of, like, things where I put the actual stream, because I know those two companies are really strict about, like, copyright and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm almost out of for words, so yeah, so I'll be checking both the Disney TVA Twitter and also Comic Con's YouTube channel because I would imagine those are like the two likely places that they're gonna post a link.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes. Also, probably the Comic Con Twitter or Comic Con Instagram might be a good place to look for the link just before the panel is supposed to get underway because of all the fans that might be looking to Comic-Con for what their schedule time for all these different live streams and everything is, they might be posting updates about it on their sites there.
Yeah, so I literally just got a comment asking, so where can I watch this crossover panel? Again, we're like, as of right now, we can't seem to like we haven't found a link. Like Disney TVA or Comic-Con itself hasn't posted. Somebody is saying that you can watch the panel at the Comic-Con at Home website, so I'll check that. Thank you, Rowan TRP. I'll check that right now. Andrew, do you want to take a look yourself?
Yeah, sure. See if I could find out where exactly this is gonna be.
Yeah. I even know from, like, I remember going to this Invader Zim panel at Long Beach Comic Expo, I think, and they were like, please don't film. Like, I found out later on their, like, policy website that, people aren't supposed to, like, film and put it on the internet. So, yeah, so these conventions are really strict as far as like, who can, upload, like, footage from the panels and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I kind of have a frog in my throat, but I'm just sort of trying to keep cool.
I think you're doing great.
Yeah, thank you. You too, Andrew. So, all right. So to kind of like settle down the mood for a bit, you want to actually like talk about our thoughts on Amphibia and Owl House because I actually wanted to ask you on here, Andrew, because I'm not caught up with Amphibia. I've only seen 2 episodes of the show, but I'm almost caught up with the Owl House. The only episode I haven't gotten to see yet was the one that came out this morning, the Eda's Requiem episode. But aside from that, I've seen everything else. And yeah, I do really like the show. It's easily up there as one of my favorite Disney Channel shows. But Andrew, since this is your first time on my stream, what do you think of both shows? Because you told me you're caught up on both, right?
Yes, yeah, my wife and I are both caught up on both. We absolutely love them. The whole storyline, the world building, and everything for both shows is absolutely beautiful. They did such a good job of putting together all the different characters, tying in all these little side stories and with like the main arcs and everything. Blown away. The art, especially in the last couple of episodes of season 2 of both Amphibia and Owl House, like the first main Lumity episode, the Grom episode of Owl House, the whole sequence during the dance and battling Grom was just stunning. I could not believe how flawless that animation was. And then the whole transformation of Anne using her powers and everything in the final episode of Amphibia, I'm blown away by the crews. Like the amount of time and work and skill that went into putting together these seasons has been nuts, and I'm so happy that both shows are getting very positive recognition from the fandoms and very positive recognition from the Annies and all the different awards and everything that they're starting to get. I'm very happy that they're getting accolades and everything for all their work.
Yeah, so that's awesome. By the way, Heather Red Velvet Cosplay is in the comments. Hello, Heather. So I just checked the Comic-Con at Home website. There is a link to the stream itself, but it's the kind of thing where I can't click on it until it begins. So they're saying the video stream will premiere here on July 24th, 2021 at 12 p.m. Pacific time. So that's, yeah, as of now, that's as far as we can get. So yeah, I mean, I honestly would have preferred if it was like a Sony, Apple, or Nintendo stream where they like started up a bit sooner just so people could find it, because I know that like my concern, and I think lots of people in the stream are also just as concerned as well, that if they don't like post beforehand, the risk is that, you know, we're all gonna get in like right when they start. I mean, if it's something like we missed them saying, you know, hi, hello, welcome to Comic-Con, then it's not so much a big deal. If it's something like, you know, oh shoot, they said something about like Owl House that we missed out on, I think that's the bigger concern. So hopefully we could like jump in like right before the stream starts. So I'm gonna try. My computer is kind of wonky with like links, but I'm gonna try to post a link to their stream so that you could watch it alongside ours. I mean, no, yeah, my computer is supposed to have a thing, because I'm on Mac. It should have a thing where it's like I could copy a link from my iPad and paste on my Mac, but sometimes it feels like that feature just went out to lunch sometimes. I'm glad though that most of the stream comments are like chill and just asking us, so where can we watch it? I was worried people were gonna be like mad and like metaphorically throwing tomatoes at me, but as I said previously, you know, as the title says and the description says, I don't want to take the risk of like putting up the stream here. So yeah, so if for people watching, if you go over to Comic-Con's website, comiccon.org, you go over to the menu that says programming and hit where it says Saturday, and when you get to the calendar, keep scrolling until you get to the 12 p.m. slot for Saturday the 24th, and you'll see a link to the stream. There's not much there yet. There's a description, but there's no like video stream to jump into. So for everyone watching, you know, I really appreciate that. You know, you guys seem to be very understanding. It's funny, like after like, you know, I came out, like, you know, I had, you know, reminded everyone that, you know, this is not the stream itself, this is a, you know, discussion. Like I noticed that the view count is like going up. I mean, I hope it's not a thing where it's like more people like again, we're just as much in the dark as everybody else out there. Part of me is like fine with that, because like I think it like helps me, like as somebody that you know, who studied journalism, you know, it kind of helps me partial that I'm not getting like assistance from like Disney Channel or anybody else to like in terms of like finding a link and so forth. I think in a sense it like helps me like be more like objective and things like that. But I mean, I really wished there was like a link or a stream that everybody could jump into on YouTube. I mean, I could just picture it if they did post it on YouTube, where it's like a thing where it's like you see the comments of people like who are all excited and things like that. But so the best way to find it is is to go over to the Comic-Con site. Somebody says, I just view this as a hype stream, which basically, this is what it is. Like, you could call it a hype stream, if you will, because as I said, I do really like Owl House. I haven't seen too much of Amphibia, but that's why Andrew's here. And I don't mind too much if there's like Amphibia spoilers, because I kind of have a sense of what's going on, at least on a surface level. Like, I know that like Anne's hair turns blue when she's in her sort of beast mode, or something happened to Marcy where she's crying. I don't really, if they say what happened, I don't really mind as much. But that's the thing. Do you find spoilers to be really difficult to avoid, Andrew, if you go on Instagram and Twitter?
Yeah, anytime that I open up the phone or the computer and everything start going through right before I know like a big episode's about to air, that's always a fear, is that one of the main points of the episode is going to end up getting leaked and spoiled. And I try to avoid social media like for a good amount of time before one of those episodes comes out for that reason.
Yeah, Jaws 2009 says you should definitely watch Amphibia eventually. I'm planning to. I want to like check it out after the second season of Owl House finishes, just so, because like on my channel I don't just review shows, I also talk about like other news topics relating to like the entertainment industry and also video games. Like one video I really wanted to do was the news that the Nintendo eShop in Japan for the 3DS and Wii U systems, they're no longer going to be taking credit cards. So I basically like give myself room just in case there are other news topics I have to discuss, because reviewing one show in itself is already like a lot to put on my schedule. Not so much these days, because news has kind of like simmered down, probably because of Comic-Con and frankly the pandemic. But but I do intend to check out Amphibia after the second season of Owl House finishes up. You know what's funny, Andrew, is have you ever heard the saying how these days people say cartoons have gotten so intense? It's like the first season starts off all really chill, but then by the end somebody may as well be dead, or at least like something that catastrophic. I mean, what would you say is the more like intense show, Amphibia or Owl House?
I would say that the starting of Amphibia definitely made it seem like it was going to be such a more light show. Like, aside from the friends being transported to the whole Amphibia dimension and everything like that, it kind of gives off a first season of Star Versus feel, where it's like every episode was kind of bouncing around a little bit. There was an underlying theme that Anne and her friends needed to get back home, but it was like today's adventure kind of thing. And it was all these lighthearted, end of the episode's the end of the story kind of thing. But then as you get towards the middle of the first season and definitely into the second season, it starts to get a lot more intense and it sucks you in so well. And Owl House, from the very get-go, it started out light also, but I mean, you could just tell from the first few episodes that like, okay, so there's going to be this thing going on and you're going to get very emotionally invested in this, and every episode is going to have you just hanging on what's going to happen next. Come on, what's going to happen next? And like you said, by the end of it, it feels like somebody's about to die or going to die, or just something crazy is going to happen.
That's kind of like how, from what I've seen from like, the clips and, all those postings on social media. So, yeah, I mean, I know we like I often tend to use a lot of like car analogies because I've turned into a bit of a car nerd. I think you can kind of tell, Andrew, because like we've been talking about how I'm learning to drive. I often view cartoons nowadays as a way to sort of chill, like relax, because I find myself getting like almost like too invested at times, to a point where it's tough for me to see the next episode. I kind of see cartoons where it's like imagine driving like a Toyota Land Cruiser, like a really like mighty SUV down this like mountain one trail, and it's like super bumpy. There's like, mud splashing on the windows, and it's really rocky. The driver's going crazy with like the 4-wheel drive controls and stuff like that. But in the end, it makes for, a really fun adventure, and everybody like comes out okay. So these days, that's kind of how I would describe the cartoon experience, because I'm trying to get back into sort of that headspace of when I was a little kid, really enjoying like intense shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like, if anything, back then I was like, wow, I can't believe they did episodes like the Puppet Master with the blood bending. And even now, when I go back, I'm like, wow, how did I not catch on to the seriousness of this like aspect of the show? Like, when I think of like Ozai's relationship with have you seen Avatar, Andrew?
Oh
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, I only just now realized just how much of a horrible like father Ozai was to Zuko. So, but it's the kind of thing where it's like, when you grow up, you kind of make all these like comparisons to real life and things like that. And so, but I tried to like sort of get back into the headspace of when I was a kid, where I could like sit down and appreciate the story. There's things I've gained, definitely. Like, I wouldn't be getting into character analysis had I not like gone to high school and like taken a AP class in literature, to really study, because that was where the class where I learned, oh, there's a things as like character analysis. I thought studying a story was just learning what happens from point A to B. So there's things I'm definitely glad I gained, but I have to kind of like, like put myself back down to earth.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. It also has a lot to do with your personal experience. I mean, when you're a kid, you have that innocence, and you haven't really been able to see the world for what it is yet. And then as you get older, you start having all these different experiences, and you start kind of seeing a little bit more about what's going on with everything, and that translates directly to cartoons. And you definitely don't notice it when you're little, but when you start getting older, it's like you can watch the same cartoon, like you said, with Avatar that you did when you're younger, and you start picking up all these underlying themes, and it definitely hits different, and it's really hard to put yourself back into that mindset, like you were saying.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I kind of make that car comparison also to sort of remind me. It's like, because I remember watching like the finale for Star, and one of the reasons why I sort of like wanted to change up my headspace is because my sister was telling me, hey, like, you're not actually there. Like, she basically told me you have to like calm down. So like, that's why, because like when I compare it to something more mild, like, driving a car or eating something spicy, it's sort of like, it like grounds me and realizes, oh, this is meant to be fun. It's intense, but it's a sort of like fun kind of intense, where it's like going on a roller coaster and things like that. There's validity in, like, I know people nowadays like make like real life comparisons or like political comparisons with things that happen, like Avatar, and I think even like a show Owl House, and certainly Star, and there's absolutely validity in that. I'm just more of a person that tends to be more of like a sort of, I consider myself more of like a straight up like critiquer. Like I always like describe myself, I try to like be like a sort of mixture of having the television host. Do you know who Dick Clark was, Andrew?
No.
Yeah, like, I try to kind of mix up like Dick Clark's enthusiasm with like, say, Roger Ebert's like sort of critiquing. Like, I don't see myself as either of those people. Like, I'd say those two were far more intelligent and smarter than I ever could be. But I like to kind of like get in my headspace. Like, sometimes before a episode's coming up, I'll like watch a bit of like American Bandstand, or even Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, like a performer I really enjoy, to sort of like ground myself. So, oh my gosh, it's just so crazy. Yeah. Admittedly, I'm still kind of thinking, please don't throw tomatoes. I've already said that we can't do a stream, but yeah, I'm just hoping. Yeah, at this point, I'm just kind of hoping that they'll post a link. Comic-Con's website is really funky in that I'm trying to refresh the page to see if maybe they're going to let people in.
Yours or mine? I've had some issues lately with my internet too, but
yeah, I think it's on my end, because like I noticed like the software I'm using, the kilobit per second counter had like shot down to 0. So yeah, I've turned down the bitrate, because I did a stream recently where my internet was going like kind of wonky, so I turned down the bitrate a bit. So hopefully it doesn't happen as much. So yeah, So sorry about that. Once again, to reiterate, once again, I won't be able to do the stream here due to copyright reasons. This is more, as somebody said, this is basically a hype stream, which yeah, basically here to discuss the stream. Again, if you're looking for the stream itself, go over to the Comic Con website. Yeah, just my inner like PR like student is saying, they really should post it on YouTube. I really don't like it when they just post it to the website because it makes it really difficult to find, especially these days. Because at least for me, my mindset is like, go to YouTube because so many of these like, corporations have like gone over to YouTube where it's like it should be like second nature to like, oh, go to YouTube instead of the company website. With Apple is like the one exception because some people who cover Apple like to check to see if their store goes down for maintenance because that's usually a sign that they're going to announce a new product. But most companies, it's like go to like just go to YouTube. So yeah. So the original panel is about to start, right? Like somebody was asking, it should. I mean, again, you go over to Comic Con's website, you go to the I think it's the programming section, and you click on Saturday, and you scroll down, you'll find a link to the Comic-Con panel. Just saying, Andrew, usually streams like this aren't this hectic. Like, most of my streams are like really chill, and like there's a handful of like chill people that come by and like say, like sometimes most of the time I'm even worried if anybody will show up. But like today is like, this is like by far like the most like absolute Black Friday-esque turnout I've ever had for a stream. So, which I'm very appreciative. I just hope that like people watching like know that what we're getting into and what we're doing. Again, I really wish we could have like the stream on here. It would make it so much easier for me so that I don't have to have like my iPad in my lap. But yeah, hopefully it does start soon. I mean, it's just absolute bonkers. Are you having any luck on your end, Andrew?
No, I mean, I've gotten to the same point as you. I'm on the calendar. I went through programming and everything like that. I found the link to the stream, but then all
Mm-hmm.
it says video will stream on the 24th at noon. So hopefully they'll
Yeah.
post. And
All right.
I'm
So
not sure if they're going to post anything on, like I said earlier, their Twitter or their Instagram, or if DTVA decides to post a link directly from their accounts to be able to get into the lobby and everything. But so
yeah.
far, I haven't seen anything.
Yeah. So I'm just checking DTVA's Twitter again. There isn't much. There haven't been any updates there. I mean, granted, admittedly, I've been through worse. Like, when I used to cover, like, the consumer electronics shows, there would be some companies where I'm like, where's Panasonic's CES conference? And I can't find the link, and somebody has to tell me, I don't think they're going to put it online this year. So, at least for this one, there's a sort of stream link on the website. So, I mean, I'll give them props for that, but I still would have much preferred if they would just have, like, a stream where people could go into. I mean, it wouldn't change like the format that we're doing here because again, like I have this bad feeling about like Comic-Con when it comes to copyright, and I've had a friend who's gotten a strike on his channel, so I don't want that to happen on here. So yeah, so yeah,
Absolutely, better to be safe than sorry with things like this for sure.
yeah. So yeah, so it's literally less than a minute away. I mean, well now it's saying it's 12 noon, so I'll check to see if if DTVA's Twitter, if they've posted anything. I hope they do. Um, so far, no. I'll try refreshing the page on the website, on Comic Con's website. So Thursday. Actually, no, today's Saturday. Hey, I'm getting my days mixed up.
Okay.
But it is. Oh, were we going to say something?
Oh no, I'm just still going through the Comic Con's website and trying to refresh the page. I
Mm-hmm.
see what you're saying about like when you refresh it, it just kicks you back to the calendar, so you have to go all the way back through and find the event.
Yeah. I noticed that the Comic Con website, I can't seem to, like now I can't actually access the stream itself. I want, or it makes me kind of worried if it's a thing where it's like there's so many people coming in that the website is starting to act a little weird. I mean, not, it doesn't look like a straight up like DDoS like situation, but yeah, I mean, let's see if I can get back on here. Yeah, because if you go over to Comic Con's YouTube channel, I don't even think they post the live links. I wonder if they're doing this because they're worried, like somebody, if they put it on YouTube, that somebody might like, upload it themselves or do something like that.
That's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, so yeah, like because when I go over to the Saturday section now, there are no events, so I'm just like thinking what's going on here. But I guess yeah, this is the wow, this is like the first time there's like so many comments like coming in where I'm just thinking that, like there's no way I could respond to everybody. I noticed there's some who are like saying, they ship this and that or posting fan theories, which is cool. Well, like I ship both Starco and Lumity myself. At least it's not like people again throwing like tomatoes, as I like to say. Just thinking of what people call tomato amity. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I hope it's not a situation like what happens when a new game console's released where the website starts to um glitch out. Where do you see anything,
So
Andrew?
apparently my wife was able to get into it. She said that the Comic Con's YouTube is broken up day by day, so there should be some way of getting into Saturday to be able to see what streams are scheduled for today, and the link is in there to be able to get into.
Okay. Yeah, so okay, I see the link that they
Hello, San Diego Comic Con. My name is Doug Benson.
Okay, I found it. I found the stream.
And I'm so excited to be here with you to talk about two incredible Disney Channel
Right.
series,
So,
Amphibia and the Owl House. But before we dive into this incredible fantasy worlds, I have the privilege of sharing some exclusive new sneak
yeah, so again, I apologize that I'm not going to be able to stream the event itself, as I said in the description of this video, due to copyright concerns. Um, I don't want to take the risk in getting this channel a strike. Whoa, is that a clip from The Ghost of Molly McGee?
I haven't gotten into it yet.
Yeah, because they're showing like Molly's family moving into the house and it doesn't look so great. But Molly is like really excited to get in, and the Ghost Scratch is like, oh no.
God, that's another show that I cannot wait for. It looks like it's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's easily like the most hyped show that like I talk about like on this YouTube channel, because every time I post a video it gets like hundreds of views and I'm like, whoa, there's already a fandom and it's not even released yet.
I mean, that's been like the same thing with back when Star came out in 2015. The fandom just before the show was even out, there was already cosplaying. There was already a bunch of people like ready to watch it. Same with Owl House and Amphibia. I remember when they first announced those at Comic-Con and the first promos of it. It was definitely like a foresight into what the fandoms were going to be and how popular the shows were going to be. And I could definitely see it with Molly McGee. This looks like it's going to be another big hit for Disney.
Yeah. And somebody was asking me to post the link to the actual stream itself. I just posted it in the comment section. So, yeah. And Scratch is being creepy. And it seems like Molly is like really like fascinated by all the creepy antics that Scratch does. So yeah, like instantly, like Molly sees like Scratch as basically a best friend because she's like saying, we're gonna be like famous and we're gonna do music videos and things like that. So yeah, so basically a dive into like how the different personalities work, and now they're back to the panel. Again, those asking for the link, I just posted the link to the comment section. And there's the Owl House crew. I see, well, Owl House and Amphibia, I should say, because I see Dana Terrace, Matt Raleigh, the art director of Owl House, Ricky Cornetta. I hope I said that right. So, yeah. Do you see the stream, Andrew?
Yes. Yeah, I'm getting the stream now.
Yeah.
And art director of the Owl House, Ricky Cornetta. How you doing, guys?
Good, thank you. Doing awesome.
It is so incredible to get you.
And I noticed somebody said, thank you for posting the link. My pleasure. The idea behind the stream, it's kind of like what CNET does with Apple events, where they can't like show the event either. So it's just, basically their reporters talking about it. So if you would actually like to kind of like watch both our stream and also what's going on at Comic-Con, that would be cool. We're also going to stick around after the panel to like talk about, what they went through and things like that. So is that cool with you, Andrew?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we actually do get to do it here, although...
Yeah, the prophecy is fulfilled.
Prophecy fulfilled. Well, we're going to dive into some awesome first look content, talk through some interesting elements of the stuff. Dana and Ricky, Hunting Palismans is one of my favorite episodes.
Talking about Hunting Palisman.
See different layers of Hunter, seeing all those cute palismans. It's just such an incredible experience for the fans to get to see all of that and see all those dynamics in play.
You have seen that episode, right, Bobby?
Yes. That was the last one I saw.
So much. Can you guys talk a little bit about what that process is like, creating all that art?
So what do you think Luz's Palisman is going to end up being?
Yeah, of course.
I'm very bad when it comes to these kind of fan theories. I basically just left my guesses that it's probably either going to be a cat or Robin or, I don't know, a car shark. The Fastlane car on YouTube. But I don't know. What do you think, Andrew?
I mean, with her close relationship with Ida, and like that was her first kind of taste of what the Boiling Isles and everything was about, like the whole owl theme. I think it might have something to do related with that. Like, if not an owl, some kind of bird of prey.
Yeah, I mean, I think realistically it's going to be some kind of a bird, especially because, I think of like Ida and Lilith and how Ida's got the owl, Lilith has a raven. So, yeah, I kind of jokingly said Robin because when Luz said that she was from Connecticut, I looked up the state bird, but I know that, sorry, I hit the microphone. I know that's not much of a theory because it's like, so she's from Connecticut, but it's like, I don't know.
No, that's plausible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that one, the Palisman of the Cardinal definitely seemed very interested in her at first before going with Hunter, so
Yeah.
it could end up being like a songbird like that. Robin's definitely a good possibility.
Yeah. And now they're showing like they're doing the thing where they're showing the animatic of like the scene where Luce and Hunter are walking around right next to the final episode. Were you surprised how vicious Kikimura came off as in that episode?
Oh yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, you always kind of tell that she had this jealousy toward Lilith during the last episodes of season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody took Lilith's place that wasn't Kikimura, so it's like you can still see that she has that grudge against whoever's closer to the Emperor than she is.
Yeah. Now they're showing more. It's not final animation. It's kind of like sort of the beginning process. Like they're showing like an early look of what like Blight Industries, the building itself, was like when they were working on it.
Side and the Grudgeby field, all of that was definitely strategically done by our fantastic writers and Dana to like set us up for success for all of Latissa. And so it was at that point, and especially this visual development that you're looking at now is kind of the spawn of Letissa. The artwork that you're seeing above was a unused development artwork that we kind of retrofitted back into episode 2, into that little gate that you see, but it was that bone and the bone marrow and how it carved into it.
Yeah, if you see something you want to point out, Andrew, like don't be afraid to just kind of like jump in and say, I don't just want this to be a thing where it's like I'm like the ringleader. It's basically, we're in here like sort of like sharing like stuff that that we see that's cool.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
Spawn of what Letissa began. Up top, you can see my little, like, really bad thumbnail sketch and just a bunch of reference ideas of like what we wanted to make out of this world. And just a real quick fun fact: when we first started talking about Letissa is based off of Letissimi Dorsey.
Yeah, something in the back. I misread a chart and thought it was a muscle in the armpit, which is where Letissa is located on the Titan. But I misread it. However, the Letissa name stuck, so here we are.
Yeah.
Who's to say Titan biology?
But yeah, who's to say?
And because we knew Letissa was going to be like based on the back, and we knew it was probably going to be in the armpit area, we decided to.
I'm wondering, they're talking about like place names and like I wonder, because like my friend has this theory of like what if I think my friend had like a theory that like what if like the Titans remains, actually no, like this is no, that's not the theory itself, but I remember like my friend was saying what if King's like father is like body parts, or like the skull is like that we see so much in the Owl House, like that's the father's skull and that kind of thing. So I don't know, I'm just kind of processing like what they're saying about place names and how like what were they saying about like how it's like something was named after like part of the body, like I'm not really catching onto this.
So every part of the Boiling Isles, like you could even see from the newest episode that came out, they had a bunch of maps, and you could see how the map was like very obviously somebody's arm, and
Yeah.
it looked like the entire Boiling Isles is obviously the body of a fallen Titan.
Mm-hmm.
So all the different areas that they travel to all have these names that are like corresponding to all the different body parts and everything. And actually, I've been talking with a couple people about the possibility of King's father being that Titan, and maybe King has a more important role because Emperor Bellos needs Titan's blood, and then King could be a refreshing spring of Titan's blood if he is related to him.
Yeah, because I've heard lots of people. I think there was even like a theory saying, "What if King himself is a Titan?" and that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, so in that sense, it kind of sort of reminds me of that movie Raya and the Last Dragon that Disney just came out with, because they're in that world, the different like nations are named after like a dragon body part. Like I think there was like Talon and Fang and that kind of stuff, and Heart. So in a sense, it kind of reminds me of that movie a bit.
Exactly, and then each tribe that was living in whatever body part kind of had the same characteristics that you would imagine from that part. Like Talon was a very vicious sort of I want to say backstabbing, but they weren't exactly backstabbing. They were just a very defensive but same time very strong group. And then Heart was the very like recessed and almost like in relation to the Last Airbender, they were the air nomads. Basically, they were peaceful, and
Yeah.
we might be able to see that kind of thing with Owl House. And obviously, you have other towns other than Bonesboro, so maybe in the different areas of the Titan, the characteristics of those townspeople could relate to whatever body part they're living in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This beauty within this kind of moment of a rough and tough and dingy area was definitely what we wanted to share with Letissa. And so, jumping right into the next slide, getting into the character development.
Oh, character designs.
So much reuse in this episode. This is just like a sea of reuse and references of what we currently have. Bria and our characters in episode 2, season 2, episode 2 was kind of the first spawn. Hey, done by Dana. And then next to that too is just like all of these characters that we essentially retrofitted into this episode because there was just so many characters in this episode. And our character designers, Matthew and Marina, they're amazing designers. They've done so much for the show, and we decided to just repurpose these things. So they're fun.
So they're talking about how some of the character designs were basically repurposed because there were like so many. Which episode was it? They mentioned a particular episode of season 2, right?
That's what I heard. I didn't quite catch the details of it.
The Galandis school uniform, and then just
Oh, that's not Bria. That's a random incidental.
Thank you. and then just going down the list of all the other characters. So that bottom left, you can see those characters in the episode. Those are from early in development that we felt fit with the overall episode. And the two characters in the middle were development and Willow's fathers. You can see in the episode. A lot of our designers just do a sea of designs, and we don't want them to go unused. So you can see a lot of these episodes. The cat person, episode 2, and the bat lady is from Once Upon a Swap Again, and was going to be one of the grandmas owning the shopkeep.
I love how they basically said like the Bat Queen's design like played an influence on like a character from like a later episode, and how they they don't like to like they come up with so many like character designs and they don't want any to like go unused. So I thought that's kind of neat.
For sure, especially with the size of the world they built. Like almost every new episode where they're walking through town, you see a new character walking through, and then all the interactions that the main group has with these side characters, and they all have their own personalities. It's really cool that they're incorporating like everything that they've been designing from season 1 all the way through so far.
Yeah, so it's cool.
And kind of read that storyboard. You can see from that bottom left, the very start of that storyboard, there's a little bit of fire effects. We include how to do that fire effects, how to turn that lighting on and off. There's different props in that we definitely built and explain. And so in combination with all that development script, how it affects the storyboards, how it affects the designs, we all then take that into color and make it consumable for our overseas studios to animate. And that is a quick gist of developing Letissa.
That's unbelievably fascinating. So cool to get that insight into seeing how work that's done in one place really just amortizes over the whole thing. So incredible. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, I haven't seen that episode because of when we're recording.
Were you gonna say something, Andrew?
No.
Okay. But yeah, what did you think of that first part?
Sorry, which first part?
When they were talking about like storyboards and character designs.
Oh yeah, I mean, I always love during any sort of panel when they're going over the whole process of making the episode, their decisions with making certain characters, with the background art, all of that. It makes watching the episodes kind of give you a different feel, knowing what the creators, what the storyboard artists and everything were kind of feeling and thinking while they were making all these decisions. And it gives a little bit more meaning, I think, to all the different characters. Like so many times you focus on just the main characters and what they're doing at that time that you kind of overlook all these little details that they throw in with all the side characters and with the background. And seeing this kind of makes you want to rewatch the episodes and zoom in on all that stuff. Like, oh yeah, I remember them talking about that.
Yeah, I noticed they switched over to Matt Brawley. So again, since I'm not like caught up on Amphibia, I think it's best if like you like sort of if, like you like kind of point out things that you find interesting here, because I'm like I don't quite know what's going on in Amphibia. So if you see something, feel free to point it out, Andrew.
Okay, absolutely.
I noticed Matt's jacket. He's got like the school name like on like this like this side of his jacket. I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh yeah, he was talking about one of the other streams that he was doing, because he did a couple other streams that I saw him in. That's one of their crew things, like their crew shirts. They have the cool logo and everything on there, and this is Amphibia crew. It's really cool that they did that for everybody.
Yeah, it's cool they have that kind of a camaraderie.
Mm-hmm.
today I have a very juicy clip that should relieve some of your anticipation and looking forward to
Oh, Amphibia clip coming up, Andrew.
a special reunion in it that has
If I get spoiled, well,
so please
oh
enjoy.
well.
Oh yeah, from the sounds of it so far, you definitely will. They're talking about everything that's leading up in season 3 and the whole different world because I mean, I'm really sorry if this is like a big spoiler, but Anne and the Planters are home. They're in LA.
Oh wow, that's what happens when I'm not caught up. I thought, oh, this is some alternate world that, like, you know, that kind of creepy stuff. It's like, yeah, so it's like, oh god, they're actually home. Okay.
Yeah, so Sasha and Marcy are still back in Amphibia and everything,
Mhm.
but Anne went through the portal with Sprig and Polly and Hot Pop.
Uh-huh.
So Matt's talking about right now how the whole role reversal is going to be happening with. So far in seasons 1 and 2, the Planters have been kind of looking out for Anne, but now completely different world to them, and Anne's going to be their caregiver basically.
Oh.
Anne's parents are going to be main characters now, so we actually get to see that.
Whoa. Oh my god. Yeah, that's so crazy. Because I would imagine for a show like that, they would save something like that for the end. But it's like, nope, she's home.
It just makes you think about, like, what else are they going to be planning for this?
Yeah. Because it's like, yeah, I like when shows do that thing where it's like, you can tell there's no way this is they've got something like planned. It's like Day of the Black Sun and Avatar. There's no way that episode in the middle of season 3 is the end all, you know?
Well, I mean, you have so much still unused with Marcy and Sasha. Like, you need to know what happened to them, especially with Marcy. Like, I don't want to give too much away because it was kind of a big thing in the finale, but you really want to know what happened with her. And then Sasha had this whole so I'm blanking on what the word is. Redemption arc. She got this whole redemption arc, and you want to root for Sasha so much more than you did in the beginning now. So it's they all need to go home together, and the Planters are going to need to go back to Amphibia. So this whole next season is just going to be getting everybody back where they belong. And
Yeah. Oh my god, like, yeah, they're showing the clip where, like, Anne comes home and the parents are hugging her. Even just seeing that, like, as somebody who's not caught up, I can sense, like, so much emotion, because, like, you know, the parents must have been like, where have you been? And, like, you know, really, like, frazzled. Like, it's another one of those things where, like, as a kid, I probably wouldn't feel it that much, but I guess, you know, life experiences, especially, like, being, like, somebody who studied journalism in college, and, you know, especially because, like, I remember one of the stories I covered, not to get too real life and emotional, was like going to this like this sort of like a memorial service. Like I've covered a couple memorial services in college, and so, like, you know, I could sense that feeling of, you know, like the parents, you know, like missing the kid. I mean, it's not, I mean, of course, like Anne comes home, but like, you know, that feeling. So it's like when I start picking up on that, so yeah.
And not just Anne coming home, but Anne coming home with these sentient frog beings that, like, humans have never seen before. So they have to not only learn to, like, accept that this is a new reality for them, but also they're going to be living with them. So 3 new roommates.
Yeah.
Would mom return? You know what I mean, to provide the voice, because like that's a lot. That's a lot for her, and she's not an actress. I mean, she is now, but I just want to say she's been doing an amazing job. I'm so proud of her, and her co-star Ryan Sunalot, who voices Anne's dad. He's also such a slam dunk, such a wonderful and funny guy. He kind of nailed the Thai accent. He's Thai as well, and he grew up surrounded by it. It's very authentic and very.
Yeah, so Matt has been talking about, like, the actors of the parents, and especially the actor who plays the dad, and saying how good of a job he's doing in nailing the Thai accent.
Oh yeah. Once again, in one of the other streams that Matt was doing, like, some of the different voice actors that he was picking for these characters, he wasn't that, like, going for exact what nationality they were and everything, but then having Brenda Song as Anne, it fit perfectly because she is part Thai.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure, like, I haven't looked up exactly who is playing Anne's dad, but it'd be really cool if he actually did share that nationality and he was able to bring.
Yeah, Matt said that the actor who plays the dad is Thai. So yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
so
that's cool. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I just tell I can just tell from that clip that oh my god, there's like Amphibia's gonna be one like hell of a emotional trip when I finally get caught up.
Oh
Man.
man, you're in for it,
Mhm.
especially well,
All right, guys. Well, as
all
you
of
can
season
see,
two.
we
Really,
have
it's
incredible
it's
set of
intense
voice
almost the
actors
whole
that
time.
you may be
Yeah.
familiar with. We're
Oh
just
boy, and
talking
now
about
that they're
some of
talking
the
to
voice
all
actors
these
that
voice
you
actors, like I see Wendy Malick, Sarah Nicole Robles, Brenda Song,
we're gonna
um,
jump right into
Bill
the voice
Farmer, all these like actors from both Amphibia and Owl House, which is
voice
cool.
of Anne Boontroy, Brenda Song.
Hi guys.
The voice of Sprig Planter, Justin Felbinger.
Hi everyone.
When I see Brenda Song, my brain instantly goes to when she used to play London in Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. So
Same.
seeing her again kind of brings back that memory.
And
Oh
of
man,
course, from
same.
Owl House,
Every single
the
time.
voice of Luz Naceta,
Even hearing the
Nicole
voice.
Robles.
Hello.
And the voice of Eda Clawthorne, Wendy Malick.
Easy for you to say.
It'd be like so cool if like Wendy Malick or Nikki Sarah Nicole Robles like came to like one of the Long Beach comic conventions because like I gush about them so much because like they're the ones that are like closest to me and also they tend to be much less crowded than something like an Anime Expo. So if they ever pop up, or Mae Whitman who plays like Amity from Owl House, that would be like so cool.
Well, hopefully next year when all the cons and everything start going more back to normal, well, if they go back to normal, that's definitely gonna be a possibility with all this work with these shows and everything that they're doing. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't be doing any sort of Owl House or Amphibia promotional stuff at Long Beach Comic Con. That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Cover the scene direction that takes place in the Boiling Isles, and I will handle the scene direction that takes place in the world of Amphibia. But apart from that, we are sort of good to go. So you guys ready? You ready for this thing?
Absolutely.
Ready? All right. Reading off of my Cintiq to the side here. Exterior Boiling Isles. In the woods near.
Oh, they're doing that thing where it's like they're gonna have like the Amphibia and Owl House actors like act together.
Trying to open a portal to Earth. Eda supervises, which means
Kind of bums me out that they were just talking about it being the final one. Like, I really hope that with the whole Save Owl House thing that they're able to actually get more than just the third season of the fandom show, that they really want more content.
Luz puts a hand on Eda's shoulder, eyes shining with adoration.
Very presence is helpful.
But she stares for a little too long.
Cute, but creepy. Like Hootie when he was a kitten.
Udi was
So, what do we got here?
a spell that has a very slim chance of working, but if it does, it might get me back to the human realm.
So in this reading, Luz is saying, oh, I'm gonna try out a spell that has like a slim chance of getting her back to the human realm. So
Eda has
yeah.
already activated the spell.
Does it involve a music
Again,
box?
probably should have mentioned something 2 Apple Bloods ago.
Oh, shoot!
Kablooey! A rift between time and space is created before a dazed Eda and Luz swirls a shining portal to.
Exterior Amphibia. Deep.
And then, yeah, Luz has some in the reading. Luz has wound up in Amphibia.
Wait till you kids taste this swamp souffle. It only tastes slightly worse than it smells.
I still think we should have ordered takeout from Stumpy's.
They do grub satay now.
So, what else do we need for this suffering?
Souffle.
I said what I said.
Well, according to the recipe, we need something called pineapple fungus.
Polly runs over to an odd-looking mushroom and yanks it out of the ground with all her might.
Is this it?
The ground starts to shake. Polly has actually.
So Polly, like in the reading, Polly pulls out this mushroom and the ground starts to shake. And what's going on?
Explodes from the ground and looms over the characters.
Dang it, Polly!
In retrospect, I should have.
Is it like a thing in Amphibia to say "dang it, Polly" or something like that, or is that just this reading?
I think that's just this reading.
Oh.
Exterior Warwood Swamp. Some ways away. Eda and Luz step through the glowing portal and gaze around.
Luz! It worked! We're in the human realm.
Ida bows deeply.
Ida thinks that she and Luce are in the human world.
Worry what you think you know about humans.
That makes sense with how little she actually knows about it. She probably thinks that there's a bunch of sentient frogs walking around and everything over there.
Mm-hmm.
Equivalent to liquor.
Hold on, Ida. You hear that?
Suddenly, Anne, Hop, Polly, and Sprig come tearing out of the woods. Anne stumbles into Luz, and they both fall over.
And now the Amphibia characters bumped into Luce.
I don't believe it. Another Anne?
And she's better dressed, too.
Whoa, giant frog people.
They confuse Luce for another ant.
Blood I've ever. Kid, are you seeing this too?
Anne helps Luz up. The two regard one another with awe.
Another human? I don't believe this.
Me neither. I'm used to say that, and I am very impressed that you're walking around.
And now Anne is like, whoa, another human, and Luce introduces herself.
Why do I get the feeling we have a lot in common?
I don't know, but I can already tell we're gonna be besties.
So notice in the reading they're having so like Luce is saying, I get the feeling that I have a lot in common with Anne. Would you say the two characters like share a lot in common?
Yeah, I definitely think so. They both are very light, kind-hearted people,
Mm-hmm.
and they definitely have this like very strong characteristic about them. Like Anne gets really into sword fighting, and she's defending her friends, and she's very like Luz in the season 1 finale of Owl House, where
Mm-hmm.
her loyalty to the people who have been caring for her in that world, like, leads her to physically have to defend them. And
Mhm.
they definitely share a lot of similar characteristics in that way.
Take this.
Sprig loads Polly into his slingshot and fires her at the badger.
Little sister cannon, fire.
Here comes the pain.
Pow! Polly hits the badger right in the eye. It whimpers and limps off into the woods. Defeated. All the kids, Luz, Anne, Polly, and Sprig stand tall and look like total bosses. Ida and Hop exchange a glance.
I was about to help.
Ditto.
And she's
Like the part where Ida and Hop Up were like, oh, we were about to help.
Which?
Just leave it all to Polly. Polly will handle it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they were saying something about like catapulting Polly to get this badger, right?
Wielding frog girl
Yep.
would love to meet you.
So, what are you doing here, better dressed Anne?
Polly calls Luce better dressed Anne. I know they said that before, but I thought that was kind of funny.
Up top, you absolute beast.
Ida and Polly high five.
I'm actually searching for a way home.
You see something, Andrew?
Oh no, it just went through the same part that you were just talking about, where Polly calls Luz better dressed Anne.
Anne grabs Luz's hands.
Oh my god, I have so many questions for you. How are you coping? Do you miss your parents? How was the food there?
That was funny thing, and it's like, how are you doing? How's your parents? How's the food? I'm assuming like Anne would be asking, how's the food on the Boiling Isles?
Mm-hmm.
Which Ida has said
yeah.
before she doesn't like garlic, so she kind of lost me on that.
Name was. I am Ida,
Man.
the owl lady.
I forgot what episode it was, but it was the first episode of season 2 of that Owl House, where Ida had to trade the money that she was going to be using for her apple blood for griffin eggs, and she's like, "Oh, it's the only thing that Luz can really digest here." So I guess the food's like way outside of what humans would normally be eating, to where Luz can't even eat it.
Ooh, I probably wouldn't last so long on the Boiling Isles then, because I don't really like to eat eggs. So, just saying.
Luz, Ida?
I don't think I'd last long either place, either eating only bugs and amphibia, or having very little to be able to eat in the Boiling Isles, like eggs.
Yeah.
They clasp hands again, both tearing up.
Another life, Anne. We'll have that sleepover. In another life.
Oh, so it looks like the two characters are like, going their separate ways, and Luce is telling Anne, we will have that sleepover in another life.
Kiddo, but I ain't stuck in a world of frogs. Demon
Man, that would be cool if at the very end of the series they did a crossover like they used to with like American Dragon and Lilo and Stitch and all the Proud Family and all of that, but they did it with this because I mean, he
Yeah.
already showed that Amphibia has ties to Gravity Falls, and I mean, technically they're both like looking to go back to the human world with Owl House and Amphibia, so they could theoretically have a good crossover with this.
Yeah, I noticed like people in the comments were like saying, "Oh, what if there was a Amphibia and Owl House crossover?" And you know what's funny? It's that you know how the Tokyo Olympics are going on in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I'd even be down for like a Disney DTVA Olympics. Like, you know, wouldn't it be cool to see like a swimming competition with like Owl House, Amphibia, Star, even like Tangled characters competing with each other?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to say too much because it's just we're checking out this panel, so yeah.
Another human girl, and I barely got to talk to her. I didn't even get a memento to remember her by.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Ida, did you steal that poor frogman's wallet?
Well, I couldn't help it. It was right.
Hita's saying she stole Hot Pop's wallet as like a memento for Luz to remember like meeting and man, Ida. I mean, I know she calls herself like, you know, to say the bad girl coven and things like that, but it's just like Ida, you know, because yeah.
I mean, you remember the episode where she was trying to get Luz enrolled in the hex side, and she had that long permanent record of all the crazy stuff that she did at the school that she had to make up to Principal Bump for.
Yeah, like when she was sitting in Bump's office and like had all the like papers and saying, you know, you did all this like, you know, crazy stuff that you have to make up for so Luz could get into Hexside. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I'm Amity Blight. I can do this. I'm gonna walk right up to Luce and say,
Oh, I didn't. Oh, so that's Mae Whitman. Just noticed that she popped up. Yeah.
Amity dashes back into the woods before Luce knew she was even there.
Oh my god, what an incredible table read. I'll be waiting for all the fan animation of that in the coming weeks to really see.
Yeah, so
What an incredible.
because like Owl House is like at least like, you know, there's like concern that it's on the chopping block. I'm kind of concerned that might be like as close to like an Owl House Amphibia crossover as they could get. I mean, like I said, I had this like whole like idea of like a DTVA like Olympics where it's like the next like, you know, like oh, they could have like a Winter Games in like Muni, like Star vs. Force of Evil. And did you hear the announcement that Brisbane, Australia just got picked to host the 2032 Summer Games, Andrew?
Yep.
So when I heard that, I was like, oh, maybe Boiling Isles could host the DTVA Olympics in 2032. So I'm turning into a bit of a fanatic, but yeah, this table reading was cool. Like, what'd you think?
Oh, I love it. I love being able to see characters that wouldn't normally in the shows be able to interact with each other, especially when they have so many similarities. Like a couple years ago when they did Star with Big City Greens, and you know Star and Tilly would get along so well, and then Marco and Cricket, and then this whole thing, like I never really put too much thought into how Anne and Luz share so much in common, and even like the whole plots of their shows. They're both humans that went into these alternate realities, and they have to live like the only human in that area with all these other creatures and everything, and make their way with it and find a way to get back home. It's interesting seeing how they would interact when they actually meet each other for the first time.
Yeah, so yeah, I noticed that that executive director was saying, you know, I can't wait to see all the fan animations. Like, yeah, people are gonna be either making like fan animations or like maybe like a separate like comic where the two are like meeting together.
That would be really cool to read if somebody actually went through like a whole fanfic about worlds colliding between, like you were saying, like a bunch of different Disney Channel worlds, and having something like an Olympic Games with all that, but in comic form, if they're not going to be able to do anything visual with it, like on TV.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, me and Sprig have a lot of similarities, definitely, and not just that we both love to fish, like family fishing trip, but also that we love, you know, adventures and exploring different things, trying new things, and you know, I I think that's something to say that, you know, I didn't have any family that was in the entertainment industry, but, you know, I jumped in to explore this, you know, new world, and I was able to meet a lot of new people and do a lot of new things, and I think that's very similar.
Yeah, so Justin Felbinger, I hope I'm saying his name right. The actor who plays Sprig was talking about how he and Sprig share some similarities in that they have a love of adventure and both like fishing, and how for Felbinger himself, he was saying how like jumping into the entertainment industry was like an adventure himself, where he got to meet a lot of cool people. So I think it's cool when a voice actor does like share like some characteristics with the character they're playing. So I like hearing stories like that, and I like to often sometimes think about like how like for instance Eden Shear, like how her similarities with Star, for instance, and that they're both very like sort of like animated, like they have these like very like expressive personalities and things like that.
Mm-hmm. That must make it easy on like the voice director and everything like that for doing their readings and recording, because I know one thing I heard about Eden Shear when she was recording for Star, one of her mannerisms where she's just like, okay, cool, like repeating things. That was never a script. That was just Eden being Eden during her readings, and they're like, you know what, that's exactly what Star would do, and they just incorporated it into the show.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool.
Bring so many other dimensions to their character because of their own like personal little experiences and quirks and how much they relate to them.
Mm-hmm.
Live those characters and live the emotions that these characters have, and it's just so much fun to do scenes like that.
Yeah, and Hop Op's actor Bill Farmer is talking about how it's cool to live through the emotions. I honestly wonder with how crazy these shows can get if like some of these actors sort of turn into like a Daniel Day-Lewis, where it's like they almost like borderline become the character. Like, have you heard like crazy stories about actors like Daniel Day-Lewis and how like this kind of actors, they almost like become the character themselves?
Oh yeah, with a couple different people, like they get so sucked into whatever role that they're playing for the movie or the TV show like that it takes them a long time to be able to disconnect from that character. Like they still go about feeling what their character would be feeling or saying what their character would be saying for a long time after.
Mm-hmm.
It was a possibility because we had talked about it, but I didn't know if it was going to happen. And then when I got the script, I was like, my baby's got legs. Like, I was so excited. And yeah, not only did she grow physically and stuff, but I think also going on all of these
Amanda Layton was saying that Polly like is starting to like grow physically. Is that what she's getting at?
Yeah. So spoiler alert.
Go ahead.
Final episode, Polly grows legs. And she's still very awkward walking on them, but yeah, now she's mobile. She can actually go around without the bucket all the time.
Oh, cool. I didn't notice that. Was she walking in the clip? Like, she was. Oh, yeah. So basically, it's kind of like what happened with the Buff babies in Star, right?
Yep, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like she already had her little nub arms, but now she's actually got the legs and everything. And she had to, like, as soon as they came out, she was in the middle of a fight. So she had to quickly learn how to walk on them, but you could still see she was unsteady.
Mm-hmm.
So now she's going to be getting a little bit more practice in a different world since immediately after she went through the portal.
Mm-hmm.
Like I felt like I saw, like when someone reveals themselves, like I was let in on like her secret because she doesn't really have like walls or hide things. So my biggest surprise was like how emotional we got to go because it's so funny, beautiful.
And for you, as you look across all these episodes,
Notice that Nikki, Sarah Nicole Robles, was talking about how she was surprised how emotional the Owl House gets. I mean, I could imagine, because I'm trying to think from her perspective, being a part of the show and especially wondering what's going to happen next. I mean, yeah, so, I guess, yeah, I wonder if she was, wondering how... for me, it's kind of tough for me to because I think about all these shows out there now with they have these very emotional episodes, Star, Infinity Train especially. Oh my God. I mean, have you seen that show?
Yeah.
Andrew? Yeah. Goodness, they really go places in Infinity Train, but yeah.
And in such a quick time too. Like, I mean, their seasons are only about 10 episodes long, so they have to go through this entire emotional journey. So it's like, as a fan of the show who's watching it, you don't really get a break. It's every episode that you watch is like you're getting hit right in the feels.
Yeah, especially the third season, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure, the third season. That one was a roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
They always have to tell me to stop because I'll just keep going because I'm like, wait, did that sound right? And then like Eden, our voice actor, will be like, that's good. We have enough. We have enough.
Yeah, we have 11 minutes of you fake snoring. Like that was. Yeah. We wanted like 1 second.
Exactly.
Matt, I don't know if you do the scratch efforts for your animatics or for ADR before going in with the actors, but that's always the hardest part for me is just like screaming at my computer to try to figure out the timing of something, scaring my cat into the other room.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know those keyboards that have like sound effects?
Dana was talking about how like there were times where she was like screaming at her computer to get the timing right. Like, I mean, this is at a smaller scale, but it just kind of reminds me of those times where I get like frustrated with like Photoshop or Premiere Pro, like those kind of crazy like. I mean, I don't know if they use that stuff on like a DTVA, but it's like I could kind of relate to that. Like, you know what I'm saying, Andrew? Where it's like you have to use this program for like your job or like your side hustle, and when it starts bugging out, it's like that end of the world feeling.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely relate to that. I can't imagine like the frustration that, especially when it's not even a side hustle, it's like your career and everything like that, and your programs are starting to bug out and stuff, and it's you have these deadlines that you have to meet, and especially when you're in a position like Dana where you're probably feeling like everything that you're doing could possibly be the end of the show.
Yeah.
So it's that added pressure on everything.
So yeah, basically at this point, both the Amphibia and Outhouse Crew, they're kind of like sharing stories with each other about like, you know, the weird times like making the show.
I feel so like big in my body like when I like do like sound efforts where they're like, okay, yeah, you're falling off a cliff, and I'm going,
Well, I'm always hitting everything.
It's also really cool seeing like the cast and crew. I don't know how often just personally they're able to get together like this, but I know voice actors usually they go in like one at a time. They have their own schedules because of their other projects and everything that they go in to record, so they don't really get to interact with each other. But it always seems like the show's crews are so tight knit, even the voice actors, and seeing them on all these live chats and stuff they've been doing since the pandemic, and how happy they are to being like talking with each other, having these conversations and everything, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
It's just such a great example that there's a place for everyone out there, and that she prides herself on not being a conformist, and I think particularly for young people, but for adults too, that is such a reminder that
I noticed that like Wendy Malick Ida's actor like has a tendency of like picking. You ever notice how like some of the characters they tend to be like these like motherly figures, both good and bad? Like I remember the other day I was told that like she played like Pacha's wife in Emperor's New Groove, but she also played this like evil oil tycoon who's like the mom of this character in Close Enough, and it's like I almost want to say it's like if you want to see Ida like you know swear and get into even worse stuff, go watch that Close Enough episode. I mean, maybe not Martin Scorsese level of like being foul mouth, but it's like if you really want to see like Wendy Malick like go nuts, that's a good episode to check out.
Oh man, I gotta check that out. I mean, I've seen Emperor's New Groove, obviously, and like the minute I heard Ida's voice, I kind of put that comparison. Like, man, she definitely sounds like somebody I know, and that came up. But I'm gonna definitely have to check out Close Enough.
Yeah.
I think we got a really petition for that Amphibia Owl House crossover to hit that screen.
Yeah, the executive director is like, there's got to be an Amphibia Owl House crossover. Like, yeah, I mean, I wish there was like a Star crossover with one of these two shows. I'm leaning more towards Owl House, but only because like I'm caught up on that show and I'm not sure what happens in Amphibia. But it's like, yeah, I mean, I think it would be cool if like Star Marco got to meet like Luce and Ida. Oh, is that it for the panel? Oh, it looks like, that's it for the panel. Did it get to the end for you?
Yeah, yeah, it just ended for me.
Okay, yeah, cool. So, yeah, so that is the panel. So once again, I noticed, yeah, the number of viewers started to drop. I'm guessing for everybody who wanted to, like, leave and go watch the panel, which is all right. I could, understand, and then it's really cool to hang out with you all. So, yeah, so the panel just finished up. Andrew, what did you think?
I loved it. I mean, seeing the new clip from season 3 of Amphibia was really awesome. I cannot wait for that season to start. And then seeing a lot of the behind the scenes stuff for Owl House, their character designs, kind of learning about how they're pulling unused designs from season 1 into season 2 and then probably into season 3 as well is really cool to learn. And it's going to keep me looking at a little bit more of the detail of the show from now on.
Yeah. I just noticed somebody said, I'm sad Amy Whitman wasn't there. I'm not sure who that is. When I hear Whitman, I want to mentally make a correct, if I can speak, connection to Mae Whitman, who voices Amity, and she was in there for a very brief time, which makes me a little sad because I really like Mae Whitman as a voice actor from both I think of Avatar and also Owl House, how she plays Amity. When I found out that it was Whitman, I was like, oh, Guitar is back. I mean, not that I don't see a character when I see Amity, but I like when I hear that a voice actor I really like is in the show. I often find out by accident. It's when I was looking up who plays Amity, I was like, Mae Whitman. I was just but I see that more as a compliment. It's I can't I get so invested in the character that I don't even think to ask the question, do I know you? And that sort of thing. So seeing that, it's kind of like bumping into a friend you haven't seen in a long time. I haven't met Mae Whitman. I mean, I really want to one of these days, if they ever do an Owl House event. But yeah, but still, it was good to see her for I mean, I thought it would have been cool if she got to hang around a bit and maybe talk about, especially because Amity, I would say, is my favorite Owl House character because I really like how her story unfolds and the way that she becomes much more honest with herself. I mean, just the fact that he becomes much more comfortable with being the honest and frankly best version of what she could be. I find that to be really relatable. But still, I give her credit for being there. Alexis, I'll send you. I'm gonna post the link to the Comic-Con event, so you could go check that out. So, yeah, did any of the other voice actors stand out to you, Andrew?
I mean, all really in their own way. I love seeing Brenda Song in other things other than just Sweet Life of Jack and Cody, where she was London Tipton, and being able to like you said, you hear these familiar voices, and it kind of brings you to a different place when you watch the episodes. It gives you that familiarity with the voice, you're listening to an old friend you haven't seen in a while, and it's just really cool.
Yeah, and I also think, I mean, it's cool that nowadays, we've been going to these events, we've met the Blood Moon Ball. Have you gotten to meet members of the Star Crew, for instance, Andrew?
Oh yeah. I mean, I met Eden and Adam a bunch of times at Comic-Con and the Boba events and everything like that. I'm trying to go to more cons and everything. Growing up, I never imagined that it would be as open to fans as it is now. And to be able to meet these people that are either responsible for making the shows, meeting Darren and meeting Dana once, what blew my mind to be able to meet the creators of these worlds that I get to watch and enjoy, and now get to enjoy with my daughter, and hearing what inspired them to make the shows and having that personal connection with them and the memories that I'd be able to make actually meeting them, it's really, really, really cool.
Yeah. I noticed there's people in the comments who are saying, make Hootie strong, turn him into a god. I'm just no, because if Hootie turns into a god and there's people who preach to him like he's Jesus, I'm just there's gonna be a lot of crazy, destructive people running around the Boiling Isles, as if it's already not a place that's already, has its dangers. It's just and I mean, I like Hootie as a character, but it's he like when he's in like battle mode, like it's like watching like an Uzi like go off. It's just like holy crap.
Oh yeah, when he took out that entire like squad of the Emperor's Coven and Lilith in like the episode before the season finale for season 1, and he does it like joking the entire time, like he's not even being serious. Imagine if he got serious and tried to do anything.
Yeah, the closest I could think of is when he's battling Jean-Luc in the Echoes of the Past. Like when he's spitting in potions and saying, and what did he say? He said something along the lines of "special delivery, pain." It's just like, oh yeah. Yeah, so it's just crazy. But Echoes of the Past, I would say, is my favorite season 2 episode so far. Do you have what would be your favorite? Well, just favorite Owl House episode in general, Andrew.
Ooh, it would be a mix between Grom and No, actually, it would be Grom. It would definitely be Grom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your first real taste of Lumity, and I mean, from the minute Amity starts warming up to lose and everything, I was already shipping them. That exactly. And then, like I was saying before, the whole animation sequence of their fight with Grom and the dance, and at that point, you really start to get the feel of how good Luz is getting with her magic and being able to use all those different glyphs in the right ways so close together. And that episode definitely had a lot going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I would say that the Grom episode is one of my favorites as well. I think I would say my favorite would have to be understanding Willow. Like, I really like that, especially that deep dive where we see that Willow and Amity used to be friends, but things got messed up because Amity's parents, they kind of have that sort of like elitist mindset of like, Willow is, we don't hang out with those sort of people. I especially like that scene where like Amity is, when Amity's parents are like, you're gonna hang out with like, people like Basha, and Amity's like, but they're so mean. Like seeing that sort of like, really deep like truth about that person, and I still think that like Amity still has that like thought to this day. Like seeing that like that sort of honesty come out, I think was really something. Like, really something. So yeah, I would say that episode is my favorite Owl House episode overall. Echoes of the Past, I say, is my favorite from season 2 because it's the only episode of the second season where I was on the edge of my seat the whole time and, just constantly guessing, asking myself what's going to happen next. Like, all the other episodes of season 2 are really good, I would say. There hasn't been one where it's just... Actually, honestly, there hasn't been an Owl House episode I've seen where I thought it was just straight up awful. Like, I would say they all range from okay to, wow, that was really amazing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was why, hearing King's backstory, it sort of reminded me of that, part of Gravity Falls when there was a big question of who is Grunkle Stan really, and they do that thing where it's like, oh, is he dead, and is that guy like the one who's walking around a fake, and it's like for a second I was thinking he's an imposter, and there's that scene where Mabel is like, I don't know if I should listen to him. And, like, it sort of reminded me a lot of that episode. And when they do episodes like that, where they get you for a second, and then it's like, maybe not quite. It's like, it just gets me on, like, the edge of my seat from, like, the first second. So, yeah. What would be your favorite second season episode so far?
The more recent episode of, I can't remember the name of it, but the one where they're in the library, and Luz is looking up the other human that was on the Boiling Isles. That one, I feel like I had the same reaction that you did, where I'm on the edge of my seat. I had all these theories running through my head the whole time, and I'm just like, come on, is it going to be what I think is going to happen, or is it going to be something different? Like, what's going to happen next?
Mm-hmm. I know somebody in the comments keeps saying something about please make Mark and... Is that like Marcy and Anne? Is that like a ship that people... Mark and, like, is that like a ship that people like toss around in the in the Amphibia? Actually, yeah, I've heard like some people were like, please, like, I want like Marcy and Anne to be a couple.
I mean, I could definitely see like throughout season 2, they're spending a lot more time together. Like after they were able to find each other, it seems like their relationship was a lot closer than the one that she had with Sasha.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, in my opinion, she seems like she's got a little bit more like chemistry going with Sasha than she did with Marcy. Marcy just seems like a really, really good friend.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know how things are going to be going in season 3. You definitely got to get caught up and find out the whole drama that's happening between all 3 of them. But
yeah, I mean, it just kind of reminds me of, I haven't seen, I mean, it doesn't go to this, like, degree of viciousness, but it sort of reminds me of, have you heard of a movie called Shallow Grave by Danny Boyle?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, because, like, I haven't seen it, but I know in that movie what happens is there are these 3 friends who live in an apartment who come across this bunch of money, and from what I understand, they're kind of, like, fighting about it, and it puts their friendship in jeopardy. One of the characters gets, like, murdered along the way, so it's just... I mean, from what I've seen, Amphibia doesn't go to that, like, degree, but it's the show basically like this dynamic of you have these 3 friends, but this adventure is, like, really testing their friendship in that kind of way?
Yeah, and it's because of the growth that all of them are going through. Like, and when she was in the human world with Marcy and Sasha all the time, Sasha was like that dominant personality where she was kind of controlling what the friend group was doing. And now that Anne's been on her own and she's finding herself and becoming like this strong, independent person, she's not letting Sasha do that anymore. And it's definitely putting a lot of strain on them. And then Marcy has like this kind of egotistical aspect to her. Like she's so smart that she could figure things out and she doesn't need any help. And she's realizing that she can lean on her friends to figure things out, and they're a lot smarter than she gave them credit for. So all of that is just, it's adding so many more dimensions to their friendship that they need to be able to figure out and come to terms with. But it definitely seems like it's tearing them apart in some ways, but it's also bringing them closer together in others.
Yeah, I like that sort of dynamic. I noticed that people in my comments, somebody was like, Alador, Amity's father, is innocent, and they're talking about like the whole thing that happened in Understanding Willow. And that same person, Florin, I hope I'm saying your name right, Odalia is a monster. I was surprised, like, to see when the parents came back in Escaping Expulsion, because from Understanding Willow, both Odalia and Alador, they came off as, like, both of them came off as, like, you know, these really domineering parents. But then in the episode, Odalia, you know, is still the monster, but Alador seems to have, like, you know, he kind of, like, tags along and even kind of sides with, like, Amity at the end. My friend was saying maybe what happened is that Odalia became like so like intimidating that this is like Alador's like coping mechanism, that, you know, where it just kind of like tags along and is a little clumsy. Would you say like that's what happened along the way, Andrew?
Either that or something else happened, like maybe some other event kind of made him think twice about his actions. And he started mellowing out from there. But I noticed that, like, I just rewatched Finding Willow very recently, and after watching Escaping Expulsion also pretty recently, I was able to like make that comparison. Like, man, he seems like a completely different character from these 2 episodes of how they made him out to be to what Escaping Expulsion is, because he is very like just follow whatever Odalia is saying, and okay, yeah, like I'm just gonna do my own thing, and things aren't as big of a deal as she's making them out to be, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I see, because at one point I was thinking that Alador was going to be like the ringleader, but it's like, no, Odalia is basically the one. So yeah, I even saw there was like a fan artist who like changed the color of Alador and Edric and Emra's hair purple, like as a way of saying, you know, hey, these characters are on like Amity's side now. So, which I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm like very curious to see where like Alador is going to go from here, because if there's anybody who would like turn on her and go over to like Lucy's side, it would probably be him, and especially the twins, because like it's funny how like in the Lost in Language episode, the twins, they go almost too far where they wanted to like expose Amity because of how like cold and rude she is, and now like the twins are like, pretty much on like, Luce's side, like they're helping her get into that evil version of Google I/O in escaping expulsion, like at the very end of the episode. So so it's really interesting, like the whole dynamic of the Blight family goes.
And then the whole like relationship between the twins and their dad and Amity with her mom, and how like they really seem like Amity's supposed to be more like the dad, but then she's like trying to appease her mom a lot more, and it seems like they have this other different relationship than she does with the twins. And then the twins seem more like they're supposed to be like the mom, but then they just seem like they're goofing off all the time, and they don't really have like a similar characteristic to either one of the parents. I'm wondering if the what's behind the idea that maybe Amity is supposed to be more like her dad. This is more of a symbolic thing, but I remember in Understanding Willow, Amity's like natural hair color is brown, but it's now green. And I remember Dana Terrace said that, Mrs. Blight likes, her kids to be like color coordinated. So is it a thing where it's like the two parents are like fighting, like I don't want to say fighting over control of the kids, but it's like the influence they have over the kids or something like that? Yeah, exactly. And then it's kind of like, so who's really the one trying to control them? Is it either Odalia or Alador? I mean, it's funny I asked that, because I think in that episode where Alador very much has that sort of like just go along with what Odalia says, don't don't try to fight her and that kind of stuff, which maybe Amity standing up to her mom at the end might have like given him that motivation to even just say, hey, stop, having your abomination attack Luce. Amity is getting stronger. So it makes me kind of curious, because I have a feeling that the reason Amity's hair turned purple is because, she's glad that, Luce is in her life, and, Luce wears like a purple and white shirt. So I'm thinking, is that why? I remember somebody said that now Amity has become Grape Amity because of her hair. So, but yeah, it's really interesting to think about. To kind of bring up something that happened at the panel, I noticed that Wendy Malick was saying that, she really likes how, Ida is, a bit of a, doesn't like to conform, and how rebellious she is. And I think something I could sort of relate to, like, I'm not a I don't consider myself a rebellious person. I'm more of like a sort of meek, like sort of quiet kid who obeys the rules a little too much. And where it's to a point where at my job, I feel like I'm told without being told. Can't you, don't just be that person who listens to rules. But one thing that I sort of related to was, like, Ida's need to, like, stand out, and how she's trying to combine the glyphs in that escaping expulsion episode, rather than just, listening to, Luce, like, what Lilith is doing. And I actually, like, something I really related to was when Ida was looking out the window and seeing that Lilith, has like figured it out, and like, making all those ice sculptures and making Hootie really happy. Didn't Hootie even say something along the lines of, this is something better than Ida could do? And you just see that look of envy that Ida has. I'm like, I related to that so much, like that feeling of, that other person is getting much further along than I am. So I don't know, I just felt like bringing that like scene up, because like I was like, ooh, Oh yeah, and it's kind of funny, like the whole dynamic between Ida and her sister, because it seems like Ida gets a bunch of attention, especially from her mom, as we found out in the episode where her mom comes. I can't remember the name of it, but she gets attention without even trying, and then Lilith gets overlooked. But then every time it starts going into like backstory of the two characters, Lilith is always the one who was a little bit smarter in school, followed the rules, got like these different praises and everything. She was captain of the Grudgeby team while they were still both there. And it's like, she is naturally smart, and it doesn't really seem like Ida cares that much. But then all of a sudden in that episode, it was like she was in this competition with her, and it was driving her nuts that Lilith was able to do these things with the glyphs that she wasn't able to figure out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I've honestly, one of my favorite aspects of especially the first season was that dynamic between Ida and Lilith. It's funny because I know a lot of fans, like, really, like, especially in the first season, really hated Lilith, especially when she captures Ida. But I always saw a thing where it's like, even though they were on opposing sides in the start of the series, they seem to still have that, like, sibling camaraderie. Because there will be times where Lilith would, like, simmer down and, like, I think of it especially like in I have a tough time pronouncing this, the convention episode where Ida, I know she's tricking Lilith, but it's still like Ida is like, I don't know how much, time I have left. The curse is really getting to me. And Lilith is like, I'm surprised you even came here today. Like, just seeing that alone, I kind of get that sense that, even though they were opposing sides, they were still, they still had this, like, camaraderie. Or the episode where they're playing grudge beat against each other. So even though, yeah, I mean, I would definitely say, like, because I remember somebody put up, this fan art that had Lilith, Simon from Infinity Train, and Moon from Star, basically I was saying, like, these unredeemable characters. I'm like, Lilith is nowhere near as horrible as Simon from Infinity Train. Oh, God, like, even just saying his name, I get these, like, really, like, terrible, like, like, vibes. But it's like, Lilith, at least, like, I don't think she's, like, this, like, unredeemable person. Like, there were, like, qualities that kind of indicated to me that, she was going to, like, switch. Because I think ultimately what mattered to her most was, like, relationship with her family and especially Ida. So, you know what I'm saying?
She was doing everything because she thought that she was protecting her. Like, the Emperor is such a powerful witch, and Lilith was thinking, like, there's no way that Ida could stand up to him, so she needs to conform. She needs to join a covenant, and I could protect her if she goes into this. So the whole time, like, yes, she was trying to capture her and bring her to the Emperor, but it was partially because the Emperor tricked her into thinking that he was going to cure the curse, but also because she thought that if Ida conformed and joined the covenant with her, that the Emperor would back off. So it's like she was going about it the wrong way, but she was trying to protect her sister in the end. And that kind of came out in season 2 or actually the season 1 finale, when she came back to save her. She realized that everything she'd been told was a lie, and she came back to save her sister.
I see. I'm looking, somebody, do you mind an Owl House spoiler? Because I'm not sure if this actually happened in the episode, but somebody pointed something out. Andrew, did you see the new episode?
Yeah, I just watched it this morning.
Oh, okay. Somebody is like, anybody else really bamboozled by the King Dad reveal today? Did that happen in the new episode?
The very, very end of the episode, I'm not sure if it's his dad. It doesn't actually say anything. It's just like this creature walking with this cart, and it had the same skull that King has on and the same eyes. But from everything that you see in the temple where King came from and everything, the murals on the walls, you'd think it's this giant beast that's King's dad, but the size comparison didn't really look right. So unless there's like he's able to control his size, or if maybe this is another relative, or I mean, there's a bunch of theories that could be started off of this until we get actual canon clarification. But
yeah, so I think, yeah, that's the thing. The clarification would be nice, because, like, from what I'm understanding, it could be like an uncle, the dad's cousin. Like, there's just so many, like, there's almost like too many like possibilities on like who this like person could be. I mean, I haven't seen Ida's Requiem yet. I'm gonna check it out later. So I think it's like it's nice that they didn't like spoil the episode, I think, because like something I give the Owl House crew a lot of credit. They give like time for like the fans to catch up, because like I remember like my friend wanted to like watch like one of the new episodes at like midnight when it comes out on Disney Now, and unfortunately at my place I can't really do that. Also, I'm really like exhausted from my work day. Like last night after I got done watching the Tokyo opening ceremony, I just went to sleep, so I'm too exhausted to do that. And also, frankly, like I really wanted a break from things last night, especially Olympic opening ceremony. It's almost like a tradition at my house, for like the family to get together. And especially because like my dad's from Japan, I really wanted him to like sit down and like watch it's one of the few times where like I really want him like there in case there's like something I don't understand about the ceremony and he could explain and things like that. So I basically like gave myself like a break day like yesterday. So yeah, but I'll check out the episode and do a review of it on my own time. So yeah, but it's like, oh my god, if I saw that, my brain probably would have exploded. It's kind of like what happened when Creepy Loose got revealed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's seriously something that's still kind of like going around in my head, is all the possibilities, because I never noticed until I started rewatching season 1, but the letters that were already going to Luz's mom from Luz, and that was back when Ida still had the portal. So like at that time, you kind of think like, is Ida sending these letters to Luz's mom, like, hey, like your kid's safe, and kind of keeping up the charade while Luz is still training to be a witch with her, but then having that double show up after Belos already has control of the portal door. At least he hasn't opened it yet, but it's like, is there another way of getting over there, and who has that way of getting between the realms and knows Luz and is able to like find her mom and send this double and everything like that?
Yeah, I noticed Heather is in the comments. I'm that person who waits until midnight. Not to judge, like I'm not judging anybody who waits until midnight. Like I understand the hype. I'm just like not that kind of person that like like stays up. Like I remember, like, because I still live at home, and like I remember like I was doing like some sort of video chat with like a friend at like 1 a.m, and my mom like comes like not into my room, but she gives me this like look, this like dirty look where it's like, okay, I'm getting off now. So I'm like, I mean, I'm kind of turning into that like person who just like listens to instructions. But for that kind of thing, I'm like, I want to wait until like my friends, we could all sit down and watch it together, so that I don't get like a heart attack like trying to see what's going on and things like that. So yeah, so not to judge. I mean, when do you usually? Well, you told me you saw the episode this morning. Do you watch it on Disney Channel?
Disney Now. We don't have cable. We're doing the whole streaming thing, so Disney Now, and then I'm able to do the whole screen share thing with the TV, so we could just watch it like normal and everything. I used to be able to stay up until midnight and watch all the new releases. Like I know I did that with almost every new season of Star and the beginning of Amphibia and everything, but I feel the same as you now. Like lately, work's been taking so much out of me that I've been going to bed earlier and earlier, and my wife and I are also trying to catch up on a bunch of anime. Like we just went down this anime wormhole, so now we're watching like 2 or 3 different seasons at a time, trying to catch up with all these different shows. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I even remember like NBC was like, we're gonna air the Tokyo opening ceremony live, but because it's going by Japan time, that would have been 4 a.m. Pacific time. I was like, should I stay up? And I was like, and like I'm glad like I went to bed, because I remember waking up the next day like already getting tired at work. So it's like I'm trying to imagine waking up at like 4 a.m. and that ceremony goes for a few hours. So like if I stayed up, I would have to go to work like straight after. So it's just like, no, I can't stay up for something like that. So yeah, I noticed. Yeah, a lot of people are like, is there a release date for season 3? I didn't hear anything about that. Did you, Andrew? No, I didn't hear. I mean, I had my volume on kind of low at the very beginning of it, so I might have missed it, but I didn't hear that there was a release.
Yeah, no, like the most they've shown was that clip of Anne, like, reuniting with her parents. Yeah, somebody is like saying Yeah, people are like saying all these release dates, but I like unless it comes from Disney Channel, I wouldn't, place bets. I don't know. I'm just like that kind of like person where like I only want to talk about things if it's like really made official. Like when some people were concerned that the next season of Owl House might be the last, and the only thing that's super concrete is that the third season is just going to be 3 episodes. I mean, it's not looking good, but like I want to like wait to see what happens. So Heather, what were you saying? I totally understand, Bobby. VB and I always watch new episodes together. It's fun to watch the episodes with others. And yeah, especially if it's like a Lumity episode. Like my friend is like a really like big Lumity shipper. So like when she sees things like the kiss, like when Amity kisses Loose Cheek and she's like, screaming for joy. Like, it's fun to be a part of, those kind of things. So yeah.
And then being able to bounce theories off of your friends while you're watching it and everything like that, or like certain situations that you might have missed something, or like things aren't adding up in your own head, being able to like have a discussion while the episode is still going it makes it so much more fun.
Yeah. So, just to reiterate, as far as we know, we don't know a release date for Amphibia's third season. I think it would be cool if I knew about it so that I could like kind of schedule like, when I should see the new episodes. But I think what I'm going to do is like after the second season of Owl House finishes, like that's when I'll finally get caught up on Amphibia, because I probably should have gotten caught up like when the second season was out there, but I didn't want to do like a confusing thing where it's like the second season is out, but I'm still talking about the first season. So yeah, because like with Infinity Train, and it's a good example, Infinity Train's like a perfect example where I had to like stop myself and saying you don't need to like be like this intimidated, because when I saw I'm not gonna say what happened for spoiler reasons, a certain really crazy scene happened in season 3. I actually stopped watching the show for like 6 months because I was like so like freaked out that like I was like, I don't know. But when the 4th season was coming, that was when like I caught up, and that was when I started to make those like sort of like mental associations to like, help ground myself, where I was saying it's like eating spicy food, or like driving a Toyota like Land Cruiser like for Rocky Truck. It's not that, you're actually on the train and witnessing all like, this stuff. So like you get what I'm saying? Like I know that some of my friends are like, oh, that's just part of the journey, but it's like if it's getting in the way of me enjoying these shows, I don't want to like just be stuck in this mind. And it's really like it's a bad form of procrastination, if I'm being like really frank. Like I don't want that to be like a thing. I want to have just as much fun as when I used to watch like Avatar and Invader Zim when I was a kid. Like yeah, I'll pick up on like some things like much better than when I was 10 years old. But so yeah, I'm going off on a tangent, but it's like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, that's why a lot of shows are starting to do like that whole mid-season finale, and then it gives you a little bit of break to be able to like process everything that's happened so far and get ready for the next half of the season. So that way, like they can keep the story progressing, but at the same time, it gives you like an emotional break from it.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that somebody in the comments was saying a certain character's death from the 3rd season was disturbing, which, yeah, I remember seeing. It's not the one I'm talking about. It's the one that comes at the end of the 3rd season. I think you know what I'm referring to, Andrew. But, yeah, I'll be honest, though. It happened in a way that I didn't expect. I thought it was going to be, like, a consequence, but it just seemed to be, like, a thing where it's, like, the character was in the wrong, like, place at the wrong time. So,
yeah.
But yeah, not to get specific on like who it is in case there's like Infinity Train like fans still trying to catch up, because I did a stream recently with a cosplayer who's still trying to catch up, so yeah, I'm trying to keep in mind that there's still people, just like how I'm still trying to catch up on Amphibia. So woo, yes, but yeah, it's just like really crazy like kind of stuff. Like I'm even like surprised of certain things I didn't catch on to as a kid. Like I remember like have you seen Nightmare Before Christmas, Andrew?
Oh yeah.
I remember like that scene where the kids open up the Christmas present and like there's that head in there.
Yeah,
I was like,
dead when he opens it and just like looks at his parents with it.
I mean, like, I'm surprised, like, as a kid, I didn't think much of it, but now I'm like, how did I, like, not, get creeped out by that when I was a kid? So it's funny because, growing up, I was thinking that as I get older, I'll be able to handle a lot of this stuff. In some ways, it's more difficult because, we were talking about how, like, when you go through life experiences and you sort of, like, start to pick up and relate to all these emotional experiences and things like that, it kind of gives those sort of, like, mental associations when you sit down and watch the episodes. And so that's why these days I do things like watching, like, like old car commercials, like on YouTube and things like that before I go in and watch a new episode of like Owl House or Infinity Train and things like that. In some ways, I feel like, it helps me not only to cope, but I also get to see things like car brands like I've heard of as a kid, but now that I'm older, I get to know more about, and sort of things like that, like Pontiac commercials I didn't get to see because I wasn't even born from the time they were around, but like the ones from the 80s I think are so cool. But I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, it's just kind of why, like, I sort of like went down the route that I did. I'm sure younger me would have been like really like thrilled to see like Owl House or Amphibia or Star. I mean, I kind of wished it was like the early 2000s so that if there was something like an ABC Kids or ABC One Saturday Morning where they could air them on broadcast TV, like instead of having to wait for the new episodes, I think that would have been like such an epic Saturday morning. I probably would have like gotten up just to see you to get that sort of like that sort of like adrenaline rush,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always felt like Disney should bring that back. Like, they have a ton of shows out there that they can just air on Saturday mornings, and that's when the new episodes could be released. And it would be such a nice thing to like wake up on the first day of the weekend and like run to your living room and be able to watch this stuff live and not have to worry about the spoilers or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think one concern would be if they're airing reruns. The problem would be that if there's like an episode that just turns up and it happens to be a spoiler, then people who aren't caught up are going to watch it and be like, what happened? Like, I guess that's one concern, but I still think it would be cool because, like, even just running through my head, I'm like just picturing if Owl House or Amphibia was on ABC Kids, I think that would be like really amazing. Like, I kind of miss those days. I will say I think I get now why, like, when my mom would see, like, me watching, like, a Tim Burton movie, she would be like, ugh, like, she would be, like, kind of, like, disturbed. Which is funny, which is weird, a little weird to me because I know my mom likes to watch horror films. Like, I saw her watching, like, one of the Child's Play movies. But I think what she was thinking was, like, should my kid be watching this and that kind of stuff? Which I know that's a touchy subject, and, like I'm personally a believer in that, if the kid can watch it and they can handle it okay, then I think, it's fine. Like, I'm not the sort of person that wants to, like, either completely ban or, like really force somebody who doesn't want to watch them and that sort of stuff, but I think I'm glad that even though I'm not a believer in that mindset very much, that I at least can understand where she's coming from nowadays. So do you get that? Like, I mean, especially do you get that much, Andrew?
Yeah. I mean, like we were talking about earlier, kids got a completely different perspective on the shows that they're watching. So you as a kid watching Nightmare Before Christmas, you have the child's innocence still. And things aren't affecting you the same way as like your mom who's standing behind watching it because she's had these life experiences and she has this emotional growth that you don't have yet. So like I could be watching the Owl House and having my own interpretation of it, and then I'm sitting right next to my 3-year-old daughter who has that 3-year-old's interpretation of it, and the things that are kind of like creepy and weird and a little bit graphic that do sometimes happen in that show.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't hit her the same way that it does to me. She just pure enjoyment the entire time watching it.
Yeah.
So it's all your emotional maturity watching those shows.
Mm-hmm. Which, yeah, I mean, as I said before, I am glad that, I am glad that I have that, like, because I feel like I better empathize with people, and like I said, going to that literature class in high school, like, it never crossed my mind that it would help me so much with, like, covering shows on YouTube, because back then, like, I was like, wait a minute, there's such a thing as character analysis and themes and motifs. It's like, it was all new to me, but even though that class was really difficult and I didn't pass the test for it, I'm still glad I went for it because it's helped me so much, like, understanding these shows. I mean, I'm still not super amazing, like, because I feel like there's fan theories that others catch on to that I still like need practice with, but I think the fact that like I catch on to these shows and think about them the way I do nowadays, it definitely helps a lot. I just kind of have to like sort of control myself. I mean, it's kind of like getting in, like, to use another car analogy. I mean, I tend to use car analogies because I'm really fascinated with them. It's like getting in one of those, like, I feel like my brain has like a really crummy automatic transmission where it's like it's either in way too tall of a gear or I feel like the engine's lugging, and it's like I have to jump on those new, like, what they call paddle shifters and like do that sort of mental control myself. So I don't know. It's kind of like how like when you're in school and there's something you need to memorize, you make like fun like sort of analogies so that you could memorize them a lot better. Like that's what I tend to do with like cars, and that's why I watch like YouTube videos on like car channels and things like that. It also helps with my job too, because if I'm reading through somebody's like article and I'm like, wait, that's not how the terminology works and things like that, like I can catch on to that and sort of do that kind of stuff. So it helps me in a lot of ways, but it's just like part of how I like to think about these like shows nowadays.
Well, no, and I mean, as far as like everybody having a different perspective, like some people are going to pick up on certain things that other people aren't right away, and it's cool just to, like, no matter how you look at stuff, just talk about how you see it, because somebody else might be looking at the same thing that you are and not seeing it the way that your brain is able to process it. And it's cool to get their perspective of it. And that's what makes like the whole fandom community, the whole journalism community, all that stuff very like relatable to so many people, is that you have so many different sources and so many different like ways of looking at it all meshing together and giving like an overall outlook on how these episodes or these different stories are happening. So no matter how you're looking at it, you can relate and you can understand it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like I've been going on quite a bit. I'm trying to think if there's anything else from the panel that we should be like talking about. I wasn't expecting a Ghost and Molly McGee like sort of clip. I was actually genuinely surprised. I probably shouldn't be, because it's like, well, it's the GTVA panel. Of course, they're going to hype up that show. But maybe we could talk a bit about that show, because like I haven't like asked you about it. I noticed that Heather said yes, well said, Andrew. So how do you feel about the Ghost and Molly McGee so far with all the previews?
I still don't know too much about it, aside from what the previews have been showing. The style of the animation looks very fun. The storylines that I've seen kind of building like all the little details and everything that they're throwing in, it looks like it's going to be a really fun show. It gives me big like first season Owl House and Amphibia vibes, first season Star vibes. And I mean, we see how big those shows have grown. So it gives me a lot of hope for like what's going to be happening in the future for it.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually surprised to see it's going to be like a musical show, because they showed that preview with all the different songs about Abraham Lincoln, and I think somebody's having like a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah, and like I was genuinely surprised, because I was like, wow, there hasn't really been like a musical Disney Channel show since like the Phineas and Ferb or Milo Murphy's Law days. Do you think it's either going to be one of those shows that has a very rigid like continuity like Owl House, or do you think it's going to be more loose like something like a Phineas and Ferb?
I think it's going to be a little bit more like Phineas and Ferb. I mean, at least from what I've seen of it, it looks like there might be an overall story arc happening, but for the most part, it's going to be like every episode is an adventure that gets concluded by the end of the episode, and maybe something will tie over to the next, but not too much.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, because I always ask myself about shows like that. I was asking myself about that when Victor and Valentino was coming out. And then it turns out, from what I understand, Victor and Valentino has a much more like sort of loose continuity, in that it's one of those shows where you could just watch like the new episode and you'll know exactly what's going on. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like these days, like, I should be watching those kind of shows more often to sort of like relax a little bit. Like, it's funny how like people nowadays talk about, you know, like things like comfort shows and comfort characters. Not to bring up the Olympics again, but I feel like nowadays is what I would consider my sort of comfort characters would be. Let's see if I could show. I mean, do you have like a comfort character or show, Andrew?
You know, I haven't really put too much thought into it. I mean, I have a character that keeps coming back up, like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch for me. Ever since that came out in 2002, I've related to the character. I've loved the design, and I've fallen back on watching that movie or watching the series that came out, or any of the like other movies, the continuations of the story and everything, and even the non-canon like other studios adaptations of continuations for the stories. And it definitely calms me down and kind of gets me ready, like you were saying with watching the car commercials and stuff, getting ready for like the next show. It's just something that is comfortable and safe to fall back on, and then kind of remind you of how you felt when you first saw it, and then move on to watching something new.
I noticed that Heather was saying Molly McGee looks so good. Molly's friend Libby is the one having the bat mitzvah. I say her name is Libby because it's hidden in the background of the animatic. It's really nice to catch on to that. I don't know. The closest thing I have to comfort characters would probably be the Olympic mascots. I actually made this like fan art to get ready for the Tokyo Games. It features the mascots. The one on the left, like this one, is from the Athens Olympic Games. This is the Tokyo mascot, Mirai Toa. This one, the one on the right, is from the last time Japan hosted the Olympics in Nagano, the Winter Games. It's one of what they call the Snowlits, which, on a side note, if I ever cosplay a Hexside student, I want a Snowlit to be like my talisman, because it's so perfect. It's like, it's an owl, but it's also an Olympic mascot. So it's like, boom, it's like a perfect mashup. And bottom one is my personal favorite Olympic mascot, Miga from the Vancouver Winter Games. And this is Vinicius, the Summer Olympic mascot from the Rio Olympics in 2016. So I say comfort characters because, like, whenever like I watch like the cartoons with them, I get that sort of Olympic feeling of I can accomplish anything, and feeling like super, super motivated, and also relating to that message of like unity and bringing the world together. Like, it just kind of hits me like very strong on a lot of like really positive like levels. So yeah, so like watching like footage from like Olympics of the past, that's also something that like gets me like hyped up for shows. Yes, thank you, Heather. I'll post the art later on like my social media for all to check out. So, but yeah, they would technically be, because I can't really think of any other characters that give me that sort of like, you know, really like sort of motivated, calming feeling. I don't know, like, yeah, so that's all I could really say about that. So yeah.
Oh, that's really cool though.
So yeah, I know. Yeah, we've just been going to the moon and back. I mean, it's kind of what happens on these streams, where after all said and done, I still try to like maintain focus, but it kind of leads to other subjects. Was there anything else from the panel, especially the Amphibia side, that you wanted to point out, Andrew?
I'm just kind of curious about, they didn't really put a whole lot of like previews into what the next season's going to be, other than the clip, which was super awesome to see. They had the new intro that they showed at the last little stream that they did, and that kind of gave you a good vibe of what was going to be happening. But I mean, as far as different background art or anything that they would normally do for a preview into the next season, I didn't really see a whole lot of that.
Yeah. Yeah, so the closest was that clip from the next season of Amphibia, and also that a bit from Ghost of Molly. I'm guessing they didn't really show like Owl House clips because they're still going through the second season. And it just so happens to be right when Comic-Con was starting, so they're probably gonna show like a trailer, like maybe at the after season 2 is over, or when they're ready to show those like 3 44-minute specials. I mean, it's still really cool. But yeah, I had something in mind, but I'm trying to think up what I was going to say. But yeah, I mean, other than that, oh, I know what I was going to bring up. Did you go to the panel that had the Star and Milo Murphy's Law Cruise?
No, not that one.
Oh,
I went to the one with Big City Greens, but I missed the Milo's Murphy Law.
I see. Which one was the one where they which Comic-Con was the one where they revealed the clip from the Silver Bell Ball?
That was the one that you were talking about, the Milo's Murphy Law integrated one. I believe that was 2017.
Oh, I see. I don't know, because I mean, not that I want to see like people get in fights at Comic-Con, but I really want to know for like the people there that did they play that clip from the Silver Bell Ball at Comic-Con, or was it just internet?
No, they played the clip during the panel.
Oh my god, I would like to know what like the fans would have thought, because like especially like I could see Starco shippers like being like sort of like aghast. It's like, what? Tom dances with Star. I don't know, it's just like the inner fanatic in me. Like I remember like I actually did this intro. It was supposed to be a parody of the Martin Scorsese film Casino, where I dressed up as Blood Moon Marco, getting into this like my family's van, and I made it seem like Tom made the van explode. So I was just like, I sort of did that as a sort of like, that's how me and probably other Starco shippers felt. I mean, I don't know about, do you ship Starco, Andrew?
Oh yeah, I did from the first season. Their relationship has always been like, you could tell that something else was going to happen. And I loved how vocal Adam, the voice of Marco Diaz, was about it. Like, from the very get-go, he's been a Starco shipper as well.
Yeah. I even kind of jokingly had this idea in mind, because I'm doing another car analogy, but it's part of like what I'm about to say. Because I heard that the car company Nissan is actually part of an alliance with the French car company Renault and also Mitsubishi. So I was like, what if there was a shipping alliance that had Katang shippers, Starco shippers, and Louis shippers like put together, that like takes on like other ships and that kind of stuff. But it's just like I like just me being a fanatic, since I'm really invested in all 3 of those like relationships. Man, like I would even go as far as to say Katang was like the ship that, because I don't know if this happened to you when you were a kid, but I remember at my school, it was the sort of thing where like all the kids would be like, ew, love is gross, I don't want to see that kissing scene in the movie. But it's like Katang was like the one that got me out of that sort of phase of my life. I mean, did you go through something like that, Andrew?
Yeah, I don't remember it really lasting that long. Like, I mean, I was always watching movies and shows and everything like that there was always a love story to it. So you just kind of become desensitized to it. It doesn't seem like it's that gross thing that you thought when you were a kid. So by the time I got to like Avatar: The Last Airbender, as soon as you could start really picking up the vibe that Aang had a thing for Katara, that was already it. I was like, oh yeah, these two are going to be together. That's my ship for it.
Yeah, arguably from a really early start, because I remember there's that scene in the first episode where Aang couldn't stop looking at Katara. It was just like, oh boy, somebody, or as Sokka would say, smoochy smoochy, somebody's in love. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I think I remember these Avatar episodes as well as I do, because I used to watch them on repeat, like, a lot when I was a kid. And nowadays, I sort of fallen into my mom's habit of, oh, you watch it once and that's it. And it's like, I need to get back into that habit. I've started to with some Owl House episodes, and I really want to do that, especially with Echoes of the Past, because that episode was so amazing. But yeah, it was just one of those habits that kind of went away when I think it started when I took that literature class, that because like my main focus was analysis, I sort of like put aside that fanatic in me that wanted to watch the episodes again,
Yeah, but it's always good to do that, like to rewatch stuff a couple times, because there could be some vibes that you missed. There could be some little details. There could be a different perspective that like watching it again is going to make you think like, oh yeah, like actually I didn't think about it like this the first time of watching it, but now I can kind of see this way of looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm even like, it even makes me happy. Like, I recently rewatched the Blood Moon Ball episode of Star, and I just realized the song that Marco was listening to when he's waiting for Star to come home is the exact one that was from the the Birthday Clan episode when he's getting ready for his date with Jackie. So even noticing things like that, I was like, oh, it's the exact same song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's why it's always kind of cool. Like during the hiatus when they're waiting for the next season to come out, you rewatch the previous season, and or like right after the previous season ends, and then going back and watch it, it's all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, they like kind of hint that this is going to happen, or that you have these recurring themes from previous episodes.
Yeah, certainly. Heather said that when she met you, you wore a shirt that said "Keep calm and ship Starco." Do you still have that shirt?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
I've worn it to a couple Boba meets, and don't remember if I wore it to Blood Moon Ball. I don't think I wore it to Blood Moon, but oh yeah, I got that shirt still.
Oh, that's so cool. I hope I could make it down to the Boba meets one of these days. I mean, I haven't gone mainly because I live like pretty far away from Comic-Con. It's something I want to point out because like I know there's subscribers to this channel that know I've met like Darren and Eden, and it's not as easy. Like I can't just like call up Darren and say, "Hey, can we do an interview for like Star's anniversary?" I mean, I've messaged her on Instagram like a couple times, but and like it's not as simple as that. And the reason why I haven't gone to a Boba meet is because I live like really far from San Diego. Like I looked it up on like Google Maps. The Boba place is literally 100 or so miles from where I live. I don't know. I've talked to like my folks about like going down there, and they said to do that, I like there would have to be like a family vacation, because I used to go to like trips to San Diego County when I was a kid and go to like Legoland or the San Diego Safari Park. So if I could arrange some kind of a trip and maybe bring along some of my friends that, you know, are also really into those kind of shows, I could probably do that one of these days. But until now, it's mainly been things like comic conventions in the LA area or those gallery nucleus events. Like, I think it would be so cool. I mean, obviously they can't do one right now because of the pandemic, but I'm thinking it would be cool if there was one for like Amphibia or Owl House.
They are going to be doing one for Infinity Train.
They are?
Yeah, Gallery Nucleus.
Wow, holy cow. Could you guys send me the link after?
Yeah, of course.
After a stream. Yeah, when are they doing it?
I don't remember the day. I got to double check the Twitter, but Owen's Twitter, he started announcing some information on it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll actually double check that right now. Again, because of the pandemic, I'm not really sure if I could like convince like my friends or like, you know, family to go. Let's see.
Yeah, according to the info that they released so far, like it's going to be kind of a walkthrough thing. They're not going to keep occupancy too high because of pandemic restrictions. And then also the panel was limited to something like 60 people that were going to be allowed in the room for it.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as the new variants don't cause too many more restrictions or anything to like revert back to how it's been, I don't see why they aren't going to keep what they have plans set up for it.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I see that they're going to have this event from September 25th to October 3rd. Yeah, I'm trying to like, I'm gonna go through my mind right now because I'm still not really sure if like I could make it. I think it would be cool. I mean, I think it would be cool to like interview like Owen Dennis or like even members of like the Infinity Train crew one of these days. Is there... Let's see if I could open it up in another browser. Let's see what is going to be there. Yeah, I'm trying to see who's going to be at that a Q&A. They mentioned the Q&A, and they said live Q&A with Owen Dennis, but they don't say if there's going to be like the voice actors of Tulip or Grace or Simon or that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I might have to duck out for this one due to the pandemic. Like, especially because, like, my parents, like, they're, like, both work in, like, orthodontics. So, like, you know, I've been living in, like, with parents who are, like, very, like, you know, especially my mom, who's, like, you know, really paranoid about, like, you know, going outside. I mean, I'm, like, fully vaccinated, so, like, I have, like, my protection, but I'm aware that it's not, like, I'm completely bulletproof and that the coronavirus can't hurt me. And that kind of, so I try to like sort of keep that in mind and that kind of stuff.
It's hard to, even while you're vaccinated, if you're going into a place with a lot of people that you know are going to be like in a fairly close proximity, it's still good to wear the mask and everything. I don't know why people feel kind of weird about that. It's like, we've been doing it for a year already. What's a little bit longer until this completely goes away?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, of course, you know, like whenever like I would go like shopping with like my dad and sister, everybody like wears a mask, of course. I mean, so yeah, so as far as this Infinity Train event, it's tempting for me because I think it would be cool if I could like meet Owen Dennis. One piece of advice I can give to like people who are like starting up YouTube channels or want to do something like this is like the best bet of like interviewing these people is actually going to them in person. I've tried like I've tried messaging like Matt Brawley before, and like he hasn't gotten back to me. He probably gets swarmed with messages, to be fair. So, but when I met Darren, I think it helped because, you know, in a way I was telling her, I'm not just some rando on the internet, you know, with a YouTube channel. Like, I'm going to you with my camera and, like, some friends who are helping me out saying, you know, we would like to talk to you about, like, Star and that kind of. So I think that's what's helped me, like, and my friends interview, like, the Star crew and even, like, members of the Invaders Zim crew. So, yeah, I mean, it's tempting for me to go, but I'm not like 100% sure if I'm gonna go. I mean, I'm sure they would have like, you know, some really amazing like Infinity Train art of like all the backgrounds, or even like, you know, maybe even like I could picture them doing things like, you know, we're gonna show you what Grace used to look like, or maybe even like crazy versions of like Simon or that kind of thing. Like, it's, you know, it's all really like investing and like all the more interesting, but it's really up in the air. I know it's tempting because you live pretty close to, like, do you live close to the gallery nucleus?
No, I'm in San Diego.
Oh, wow. You're actually in San Diego. So, yeah, so, like, I live about, like, 30 minutes from where the gallery nucleus is. So, in a sense, it's not as big as a trip as I were to come to San Diego, but it's still a thing where it's like, you know, I would have to, like, you know, ask my friends if they want to come along. When it comes to Infinity Train, I'm a little concerned because, like, I'm caught up, but my friend isn't. I don't even think she's seen the second season. Like, I told her what happens in the third season with Simon, but she's not, like, caught up, like, at all. So, I don't know. So, it's still up in the air as far as whether I'll go or not. I'm tempted, but I'm not going to set things in stone. I mean, are you planning to go, Andrew?
Not sure yet. I'm kind of on the same page as you. It's like with the whole pandemic and everything, it's kind of up in the air. I don't really, vaccinated or not, putting anybody else at risk, putting my family at risk in case of exposure. It's still really weird going out to anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, on one hand, it does give me that like relief of, oh, good, I'm not just stuck at home. But at the same time, I don't know, even 60 people, I'm like, yeah, I don't know, even though I'm fully vaccinated, I'd wear a mask. I'm not really sure. I'm kind of wondering which Infinity Train character I cosplay. I have this idea, like, I could see, like, me, like, if I dressed up as, what's his name, Mingi's friend? His name is not coming to me. Ryan.
Yes.
Yeah, Ryan.
Okay.
Yeah, like, I could see a thing where, like, I cosplay as Ryan and my friend is, like, cosplaying as Mingi, but he's not really into cosplay, so I don't think that would work. But Ryan is certainly, like, a character that, like, I could, like, either him or Mingi, like, those are, like, two characters I could see myself cosplaying as. I think I'd look ridiculous if I tried to cosplay as Simon, because I don't think I would look good with like the blonde hair and that kind of stuff. Although, man, I'm just thinking if somebody actually goes as spoiling Infinity Train when Simon is like covered in the numbers, that's got to be one crazy makeup job now, isn't it?
Like every exposed piece of skin just having the glowing number.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm wondering if yeah, because I wouldn't be shocked if like somebody actually tries to do that, because it sounds like a very ambitious idea. It's not really something I'd try anytime soon. Um, yeah, the closest I could think of would be cosplaying as like a Hexide student, and like, because I found out, I think I heard somewhere, because like my favorite color is red, and I found out that the students with the red outfits are in what they call the Bard Coven. So,
Yep.
Is that like the artsy kind of coven?
Yeah. Actually, they go into a bunch of stuff about the Bard Coven in this newest episode.
Yeah.
So once you're able to watch that, it'll kind of give you like a little bit of an overview of what they're about. But it seems like they're very musical, very artsy.
Mm-hmm. All right, so yeah, I feel like I'm really tapped out. I know we talked about like this going to. So before I end things off, do you have any more that you would like to say about the panel itself or the shows, Andrew?
I don't think I do anymore, but I'm happy that they did it. I'm happy that Comic-Con still organized something for us to have. It's definitely a good thing for people to be able to still have something to look forward to, have these panels with these different shows and everything like that, to be able to kind of bring us out of the day-to-day that we have to deal with, especially during the pandemic and all the crazy stuff going on in the world. It's like we can escape and get back to a little bit of a normalcy thing with this.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, once again, for the people watching, I'm really happy with the turnout. I just hope that everybody knows from the title and the description that I don't want to take the risk of doing the stream due to copyright reasons. Like I said, I had a friend who got a copyright strike and wasn't able to do like streaming for 90 days, and I didn't want to take the risk myself. So, but I hope you all enjoyed the discussion, and yeah, we're going to end things off here. So, thank you everyone for tuning in. If you enjoyed the stream, give it a like and subscribe to the Blood Moon Bobby YouTube channel and ring the bell, because excuse me, I do have plans to eventually review the Ida's Requiem episode down the road. So yeah, so this has been Andrew and Blood Moon Bobby, and we'll see you all later.
See you later, everybody. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you, Andrew, for coming by.
Of course, anytime.
Yep. Mm-hmm.